Welcome, everyone, to episode 48 of Around the Book podcast. As you can see, we have Shane back on here with us. We have our NFL futures, college football futures. That's what it's going to be mainly today, is just futures for the football season coming up. We might have a few baseball bets, preseason games tomorrow. I think I just blew the rest of my bank on I forgot to even bet on the preseason tomorrow. So maybe I'll tweet something out about those. But I guess this week we'll get started with college football futures. We're just a few weeks away from the season kicking off. It feels like 3 years passed since the Super Bowl, and then now we're back, and the year feels like it's just starting all over again. That's awesome. So let's, like I said, we'll get into college football. I guess, do we want to say who we think is going to win it all next year? We'll just jump right into it.
Sure.
All right. Dalton, you want to kick us off?
All right. I'm not really doing anything special with this pick. I'm taking the team with the best odds in Georgia at plus 300. They have the best odds for a reason. They're one of the top usual suspects for winning this. They're returning their quarter. They're one of the few teams that are returning their starting quarterback, and they're returning pretty much their entire front seven. On defense, really, they're only losing guys in their secondary, but they recruit that area so well. Offense, a couple names from the transfer portal to keep an eye on. Trevor Etienne is going to have a field day with that Georgia offense. He was averaging 5-6 yards a carry at Florida. Who knows what he's going to do with Georgia? And then another name to keep an eye out. I believe I'm pronouncing this right. Tyler Kurasek, tight end from Stanford. Watch out for him this year, taking on a lot of Brock Bowers' workload. But yeah, I just think they're really going to – we forget that if there was a 12-team playoff last year, Georgia probably would have at least been in the Final Four. They were still very, very good last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with Georgia. That's kind of the team that between the returning talent, like you said, the fact that that they have a quarterback that is likely, if he plays well enough in a weak quarterback class, going to be one of the first guys taken in the NFL draft. Having that type of talent at signal caller position, you get a guy like Etienne coming in running back, and the running back room for Georgia has been not what we're used to the last couple of years. So I think getting a guy like that has a level of talent is going to help a lot. Yeah. No one recruits like them in the trenches in general. Offense, defense, it's going to be hard for a lot of teams that aren't battle hardened to deal with them. And there's not many of those teams in college football right now, realistically. I will say, if I'm going to throw out another name besides them, I really like Oregon this year. I really do. I think getting Gabriel in the transfer portal is huge because you lose Bo Nix, obviously. I think he's a great college player. I don't know about his NFL prospects, and we're going to talk about the NFL soon, but I do think he's a great college quarterback, and they have the type of speed on offense to at least challenge a SEC powerhouse like Georgia if they were to go up against them. So I do like that roster a lot too. Defensively, they have guys, so it's still going to have to be one of those things where if Georgia's offense is humming, they're going to be really hard to stop too. But they at least have the athletes on offense to contend with them defensively. So
yeah, I don't hate Oregon. My worry is we saw a Pac-12 team like Washington run all over them last year and really have their way with them at the point of attack.
Yeah, that's
what you're worried about. Playing in the Big Ten could be a big issue for them.
Yeah, there's gonna be some games where they have to outscore teams. Really, they will, and I think that luckily they probably can a lot of the time. But if you run into one of those games like a Penn State who runs the ball a lot, they could end up giving them trouble. Just a lot of teams that, like you said, are really good ground and pound team. Yeah, Ohio State with their running back over there. Forget that. I don't care how good you are defensively. I don't know if you're going to stop them that much on the ground.
Michigan still it's just
Simeon Edwards is good, obviously. Yeah, so.
Yeah. So speaking of Ohio State,
Oh, I wonder
who Casey's picking.
Casey thinks is gonna be
Took them as my national champion this year, plus 400. I think those are great odds given the talent that's going to be on this roster on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. With Will Howard coming in, I think that's who Will Howard is who they thought Kyle McCord was going to be last year. And if that makes sense, I think Will Howard is a step up from Kyle McCord. I think Will Howard will be able to run the offense a lot better than he could. McCord's gone now. I mean, I just like this team a lot better now. Plus 400, the running back duo with Henderson and Judkins. I mean, it's just going to be magical in Columbus. I can't wait for the season. I think they're going to win the national championship this year. I don't think it's going to be close.
Not close. Oh boy.
Whoa. It's a bold one.
Yeah, somebody clip that one.
With the Big Ten getting a little bit better this year with the competition,
It's certainly bigger.
iron.
The bigger 10.
Bigger 10. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be close this year.
All right.
I like it.
What do you think, Jake?
I don't have an actual bet for this.
Probably smart, realistically.
But I really want to be bold and pick a team like Texas or Oregon, but Georgia's just too dominant for me.
Yeah,
to really
that's why I said if I was going to pick someone that wasn't Georgia, I had to throw Oregon out there. But
yeah, I think I do like Ohio State. I have them in another bet that I'll get to later. But
Jake, I don't like when we agree, man.
Well, I'm not picking them to win the championship.
Okay.
They're safe. Their season's still alive.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to go with Georgia.
Honestly, plus 300 versus the field, really,
It could be much
bad
worse.
value.
It could be a much worse bet.
Yeah.
Happy Wednesday, Chris. Thank you for watching, man. We really appreciate you hopping on and commenting and everything. All right.
It looks like we may have a new member joining the squad right now.
Oh. JT, what's up?
There we go.
Yeah, $5. Let's go.
There we go. I think this is the most we've ever had. JT, we just went over who we think is going to win it in college football this year. Do you have a pick for that? I think
you're currently muted or just not working sound-wise. All right, what team should we say JT's saying just to mess with him at this point?
Northwestern.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is somehow actually not bad, not bad enough, I think, for it to be funny.
That's
we need
fair.
to come up with a different.
I like Northwestern.
Yeah, Northwestern with their stadium change this year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
JT is sitting there pounding the table for Coach Prime in Colorado.
Yeah, Coach Prime. Hey, they have the best player in college football. If you ask somebody, probably, I don't know.
Chris, I don't know if you're joking or not, but I don't see that.
What would be the odds on that? Can we get that? Plus 30,000. Right.
I'm assuming. Let me see here.
I got plus 30,000 on. Somehow Maryland has worse odds, which I think Maryland might be a better football team.
Colorado's win total was only like 5.5. I feel like 30,000 is pretty. Oh no, I'm bad at math. Never mind. I was imagining 30,000 is 3,000 in my life.
They're plus 25.
I was like, there's no way a 5 win total team has that odds, but they don't. So
yeah, I don't know.
JT said Florida International.
Love it.
Florida International.
I think Stadium.
He definitely scrolled down to the bottom because that's what's bottom on mine is FIU. He definitely just scrolled to the bottom, which I respect that.
Yeah, they're down there. Plus 500,000.
I only get to 100,000. FanDuel's like, listen,
Don't bet on this.
Just in case, we're not doing that. Minnesota is plus 100,000. That's really funny. Poor Minnesota, bro.
All right. well, while he's getting that, we'll come back to him. I do have a bet that I'm very interested in. And this one I think is either going to be a home run or it's going to flop like very easily. And
We love
it's
those.
plus 600 for Kansas to make the playoffs this year.
Ooh, I like that.
Hey,
I
Jalen
love
Daniels
that.
back.
I
don't
love
hate
it.
that.
I don't hate it that much.
At plus 600, I love it. I think, I don't know, man. I loved him last season. I won some money betting on him last season. So, I mean, I think they're just going to build off what they had last year. And I think they could not easily make the playoffs, but they could sneak in the like 9 to 12 range.
Yeah. The only reason I am worried about that one is because the only concern I have is if the Big 12 only gets one team. Which I could see.
Yeah.
And
That's tough.
if that's the case, I think I ended up betting Utah at plus 320 to win the Big 12.
Ooh, that's fun.
I like
While
that.
we're talking
That's fun.
that conference. That's
Are
a
they the
weird
favorite?
conference.
It is a strange. I mean, what conference isn't weird right now, dude? Let's be
Yeah.
real about it.
Yeah.
They're all kind of weird.
The Big Ten video intro, like
Yeah.
the commercial they do. where
No
they go
aura,
from the West
zero
Coast
aura
to
left
the
on
East.
Did you guys see it set to the Game of Thrones music?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That is insane.
Oh my goodness.
Like that should be the new commercial.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone have like a team to make the playoffs, like a dark horse team?
Oh, I got a fun one.
Okay.
I think I've teased this before, but at plus 2,500 to make the college football playoff coming out of the Sun Belt. First year they're eligible, James Madison.
Ooh.
Uh,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good one. What you said? What's it at?
Plus 2,500 to make the playoff.
Didn't they lose their coach and a few players?
Yeah, but they've only just recently been recruiting as an FBS team.
That's
Okay.
true.
And those
Losing
guys
the
are
quarterback
now
did kind
finally-
of suck because I thought he was pretty good for them last year. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that,
mean-
that would make me feel better because I don't know who the quarterback is right now. For them.
Yeah.
They've been the best. They've been arguably the best team in the Sun Belt the last couple of years. They just haven't
Yeah.
been allowed to play in the championship game.
Right. Yeah.
And I do think whoever wins the Sun Belt is probably going to get in, assuming the Mountain West continues to kind of cannibalize itself at the top the way they do. And assuming they
Check.
Oh,
There he
you're
is.
there.
there
Hey,
he is. All right. Join the
JT.
party.
I was deep in the settings to try and fix that problem. I have no idea what's wrong. I was just clicking everything microphone related.
You just had to hack StreamYard real fast. Get back in.
Yeah.
I don't even know the password to get into StreamYard.
I just ask and I'm good. Yeah.
All right.
Well, while we have it, JT, do you have a college football playoff winner, national
Right.
title? Do you
No
have one?
joke. Before I fall off the earth again.
Yeah, try not to.
Actually, I don't have strong feelings about who's going to win it with this new playoff system.
It does throw a wrench in things a little bit. It does, for sure.
It does. I'm interested in Alabama. I really like Kevin DeBoer,
I
but
do
first
too,
year
yeah.
coach. I'm weary of that. I like Oregon, even though they've got a lot of turnover there.
Yeah, I also agree with that. Yeah.
Florida State could be interesting. I'm interested to see them reload.
Yeah, I wonder Ungalele, or however you say it. I forget how to say his name. It's been a while since I cared. Uiagalelei, that's right. I'm curious what he looks like for them because that offense should be good if he can run it well enough. But
Yeah, I just don't have strong feelings on any of these teams.
yeah,
Ohio State's going to be right in the mix. Georgia's going to be right in the mix. Depending on the quarterback situation and if they're eligible, Michigan could be back in the mix because they're returning a lot of their defensive players.
if they're eligible, right? Which
Right. Which, we'll see.
We'll find out at some point.
No, honestly, I don't have any bets for who's going to win it. I just have a parlay for who's going to make the playoffs.
Oh,
That's fine.
Well, before we get into that, Chris said, what about Texas to not make the playoffs? I did look for Texas to not make the playoffs, it's at plus 180. If it was,
yeah, I need better value.
I need better value on that. Like if it was like plus 300, not maybe like plus 265 or so, maybe. Yeah. I don't know if plus 180 is good enough to try that.
It's got to be plus 5 digits, or I'm not interested.
That's because that is still a very good football team. It is.
Yeah, I agree. And with it being 12, I think a lot of teams that shouldn't get in are going to get in. And if Texas is a 1 or 2 loss team next year, they're going to get in, I think.
Texas might be the 3rd or 4th best team in that conference, and the SEC's probably getting 5 teams.
Yeah,
I'd be sure, unless it's a down year for some of the mid-tier SEC teams, and you're not getting a lot of good wins kind of in the conference. I doubt we see less than 5, maybe 4 again, like if there's a couple down teams, but it feels like at least a third of the bracket's going to be with the SEC.
Yeah, I agree. Big Ten, it's going to be Big Ten, SEC heavy, and then like your automatic bids.
Yeah, should be interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So JT, I know you said conference winners parlay.
Yeah, I went with the Big 4 since it's not a group of Big 5 anymore.
Yeah. RIP Pac-12.
They're already missed, but they're not excluded. I've got one in here.
Okay. All right.
So Pac-2 winner.
I'm going with Oregon to win the Big 10 this year.
Ooh, fun. Okay.
Yeah, I think Michigan takes a step back. Coaching change, quarterback uncertainty. Ohio State, I just don't believe in Ryan Day. I really like the addition of Chip Kelly, but I think he runs a soft program.
An arrow through Casey's heart.
And you must not have heard me at the beginning of this podcast when I said it's going to be easy for them to win the national championship this year.
I didn't hear
it's not going to be close.
He did indeed say that. That is what he said.
Yeah, I will believe that when Ryan Day comes up in a big spot.
All right.
Yeah.
Watch it this year, I'm telling you.
Hey, it never happens until it happens.
Mark it August 7th, 9:52 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I'm taking Oregon. I'm going with Ducks.
All right.
SEC, I'm going with Alabama. I like that they're returning their quarterback. I like their, they're Alabama. I mean, even without Saban, these are mostly his guys still in place, and it's going to be a seamless handoff to DeBoer. Even if they don't win the SEC, I know they're going to be in it, and I think DeBoer is going to take them, pretty far. Next is Florida State. I think the ACC is bad generally.
It's very weird. Let's just say that Cal's in it. Is that right? Am I right about that? Is Cal in the ACC?
Yeah, I think Stanford is too. Yeah.
I believe Stanford is as well. So,
I mean, they had an undefeated team not make the playoffs. That tells you all you need to know about the ACC. They are a group of 5 teams. Yeah. They are the equivalent of the MAC. That's what they are in college football world now.
That's tough.
That's what the committee told us. But I think Florida State's good, and I think they're going to win that conference. And then the dark horse, to add a little juice to my parlay, I'm going with Arizona to win the Big 12.
That is very fun. They do have some premium players.
They do. I like their quarterback. They've got a stud receiver whose name I can't remember. They are fun. I'm really interested in them. I don't know if they'll be great, but I don't know if anyone in that conference will be great.
Yeah.
I mean, no. In my Road to Glory game on College Football 25, Noah Fafita just threw for 8 touchdown passes in a game.
Yeah.
And is running away with the Heisman, and I can't catch him because he's doing shit like that. So it might be his year.
I'm here for it. He can be this year's Jaden Daniels, that fun quarterback who you don't know if he's great, but then you learn, oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah, for sure.
JT, I hate to do this, but I think Clemson's going to win the ACC this year.
I might, but I don't know about Dabo in this
350.
new era.
I don't know. I think Dabo finally came around on the NIL. Like,
honestly, Dabo's kind of a weenie, though. I don't trust him.
He is.
That is a great way to describe Dabo.
I don't like Dabo, trust me, but
I'm not sure if I've ever heard a better term used to describe him. He feels like he's just waiting for it to end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it kind of, we're at that point with him where I'm like, he's definitely gonna like just like retire or something, right? Like,
yeah,
we're all waiting.
Whenever all right, like whenever he runs down the hill, hill, that dude is like one step away from like utter just destruction to his whole body.
He's gonna end up.
Once that happens, that's the day he retires.
He's going to be running for Senate in like 2 years. For sure.
They're going to go 8-4 this year and get smoked by South Carolina at the end of the season. And Dabo is going to retire before the bowl game and go coach high school football.
And knock on wood, I don't want that to happen to Dabo. What I just said about him running down the hill, because I don't want to break my leg or something in the next week.
Yeah, that's fair. Don't want to wish that on him, but yeah.
Remember like 3 years ago where everyone's like, oh, Dabo's the heir apparent to Nick Saban. Once that job opens up, he's going to be the king of college football. And now it's just like, man, everyone hates Dabo.
Yeah, just kind of generally just kind of like just off-putting to me, honestly. That's the way I can describe it.
I mean, he's an L7 weenie, but I think they're going to win.
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Take me back to the Taj Boyd days.
Man after my own heart, Taj Boyd.
Met him, actually. He's really cool.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
All right. Who else got college football? Anyone?
I got a couple win total bets.
Oh, yeah. Let's get them.
Oh, now we're getting into the weeds. This is the fun part.
All right. So I bet on Colorado last year at 3.5 wins. I'm taking them this year at 5.5. Jumped out to a 3-0 start last year.
Yeah.
Had a lot of people very excited. I remember Casey. I forget which game it was, but I remember you won a lot of money on
TCU plus 750.
Yeah,
I actually remember that too. I think from seeing that.
Yeah. We all thought they were. Well, maybe not all of us, but I thought they might have been playoff contenders until they got smoked by Oregon. But I do think they can win. I think they can win 6 games this year. Yeah. They added 42 players in the transfer portal.
It's a lot of players.
Just a calm, crisp 42.
That's like a full NFL roster.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for my bet's sake that they're going to have a bit more depth last year. I think the depth really killed them throughout the last 2/3 of the year. But
yeah,
I think that they'll have an easier time this year than the Pac-12 last year. The Pac-12 was brutal for most of last season. I think they can get to 6 wins. So I feel decently confident about that. They worked for me last year. Hopefully they do this year. I'm also taking Miami over 9.5 wins.
Ooh.
I really don't like betting on Mario Cristobal, but they did add Cam Ward at quarterback. I think their pass rush will be a bit better. They added Tyler Barron. They got Ruben Bain Jr. on the D-line.
Good play.
They don't play Clemson this year, and they have Florida State and Virginia Tech at home on the schedule. So I think their schedule is a bit favorable. If they can get to 10 wins, I don't think that's too crazy with their schedule not being as difficult as it could be. I think they got a lot better through the transfer portal this offseason. So it still scares me, though, to bet on Miami. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't hate it, though. I do like Cam Ward a lot. I do.
Yeah.
I do think
he's a large reason for it.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a fun bet to root for.
Yeah. It's a big year for Miami.
It is. They need to show
auditioning
something
for the Big Ten and SEC this year.
Yeah.
Do not come to the Big Ten, please. Because we're very close to being the Big 20. I can't do that.
It's going. It's going to be.
So they have to change the name.
I know.
Yeah.
The Bigger
It's
10
just
is
going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, they need to change it to the Bigger 10 and then the biggest 10 whenever they get to 20. Like just to really kind of run it like into the ground. Like why not?
Oh yeah, Shane, I just want to give an early congratulations on Brandon Ayuk.
Listen,
Oh, we have both ends of the Brandon Ayuk deal here.
yeah,
That's
listen.
crazy.
The only thing I have to say about the trade, at least the possibility of a trade, is that we had a 400 view Still Curtain episode today, and I will thank Brandon Ayuk for that. I don't really care about the rest of it until it happens, but I appreciate you giving us a lot of viewers. I appreciate it. So, yeah. Until otherwise, that's my take on
it. Yeah. So I guess that's all we have for college football.
I got one more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep. Sorry.
We're talking football again. We're going for a while now.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a long one.
One of them episodes.
All right. So my last one, I got Ohio State to win the Big Ten at plus 155.
Now that's what Casey wants to hear, except actually maybe not, because I don't remember. I think he didn't like you liking Ohio State earlier, so I don't know where.
Well, usually when me and Jake get together on bets, it doesn't turn out.
Bad news.
Right.
It's bad news. Usually.
Yeah.
So hopefully Casey doesn't also bet this, or else we might be in trouble.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty much between them or Oregon. I think they play Oregon on the road this year. I actually think they'll lose to Oregon on the road in the regular season, but I think they're going to play them again in the conference championship, and I just don't think Oregon will beat them twice.
Okay.
But I think, it's pretty much a toss-up between those two. I think Ohio State's a better team. And Oregon, coming from the Pac-12, the Big Ten is just a different style of football.
Yeah, Dalton mentioned it earlier too. Yeah, it is a fair point to bring up.
But I think it'll be a little bit of an adjustment. But
can I sneak in on just that one little thing? The Big Ten is Oregon's style of football. Like, that's why they're good in, the old Pac-10, Pac-12, whoever they used to be. But they play Big Ten football. They are physical. They are tough. I mean, look at the NFL linemen they're putting out. Penny Sewell, and I know it's a different regime, but that's their brand. That's their style.
They do have two very good tackles as well.
Yeah.
Well, at least one for sure. Another one that's kind of iffy depending on who you ask, but definitely at least one very good tackle.
Yeah, so aside from the jet lag, I think they're going to fit right in the Big Ten.
Offensively, yes. It's their defense that I just don't know if they're going to have especially like at linebacker, I just don't know if they're going to be able to, if their linebackers are going to be able to pick up and shed Big Ten guards.
It's throughout a full season too.
Yeah.
I think that is a very good point, JT. I think that's a good point, but I don't know. I feel like it's a big difference from playing a Pac-12 full schedule to like a Big Ten full schedule, because week in, week out, it's just a lot.
I think the grind of it too, like if they can beat Ohio State, like you said, Jake, in the regular season, which I think is definitely possible for them, but Ohio State is definitely a tough matchup with the duo of running backs there. And the fact that Howard's a running threat too. But yeah, beating them twice if they have to is definitely a tough ask for sure.
And winters just hit different in the Midwest.
It's the truth.
Right. I got one more college football pick. I got a Heisman bet.
Oh yeah,
I got a Heisman question after that.
All right, I got a fun Heisman bet here. Jackson Dart to win the Heisman.
Ole Miss quarterback.
Yep, I know. It feels weird betting on Ole Miss to actually live up to any hype ever, but Jackson Dart at plus 1,400. I mean, you can make an argument he's the most talented quarterback in the country right now. I think you could make that case. And Ole Miss is really good, and you look at their schedule. The only game where they might not be favored is when they play Georgia, but they're at home against Georgia. So, I mean, I think they could very easily win 11 or 12 games in the regular season and win the SEC. And if that happens, it's a regular season award. Jackson Dart could end up walking away with the Heisman, even if, Ole Miss then goes and gets knocked out in the quarterfinals of the playoff, which I think is almost a certainty.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I will say, like, he has the same odds, at least on FanDuel for all this stuff. Like, he has the same odds as Milrow, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And if I'm taking one of those two, it's going to be Milrow, personally. Just with the upside as a rusher as well. And I think as a passer, he improved down the stretch, and we'll see kind of what that looks like with DeBurr being in there. But I get where you're coming from, though, because that offense will be very fun to watch, especially. Yeah. But so it depends. But
you struck a chord with Chris. He's been a Dart fan for years.
There we go.
We sure he's not talking about darts, or is it?
I like where you're at there, but I always have such a hard time trusting Ole Miss. I like their offense, and I fully agree with where you're coming from.
Yeah,
it's just it's Ole Miss. I can't trust them.
To be clear, it's Lane Kiffin. Betting on Jackson Dart is betting on Lane Kiffin, which is the scariest part about this bet.
That is fair.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because logically, I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah. They do have a solid shot, too. Because the other thing you have to think about, like, obviously Daniels had an unbelievably, like, prolific statistical season, but, like, they weren't contenders at all at LSU, and he still won. Like, if Ole Miss is good enough, like you said, to at least either make it kind of the back end of the playoff or at least contend, and he puts up really good numbers, and it's a down year for quarterbacks potentially, like statistically at least, he could sneak in there. It's definitely possible.
And schedule-wise, they really benefit from not having to play in the SEC West anymore.
Yeah, that is true as well, for sure.
Okay. All right.
You said the odds on Dart were plus 1,400?
Yes.
Okay. I like that, but the odds aren't long enough for me.
Of course not.
I have a plus 10,000 Heisman question.
Yes.
Oh, fun.
Question.
All right.
Yes.
I'm ready to hear it.
J.J. McCarthy went to the NFL.
Yes.
His backup, Alex Orgy, has been
the orgy.
Yes, the orgy in the end zone.
The orgy in the end zone.
He's supposed to be a freak athlete. So my question is, what if he doesn't suck as a football player? Like, because Michigan quarterbacks are always hyped, and they almost never live up to the hype outside of McCarthy. Right. What if he actually, is good at plus 10,000?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Counterpoint. I don't think he's going to be asked to do enough, whether he's good or bad, to win the award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
That's
but I think
probably where
I a lot as a runner. Like, what if he is like Jalen Milrow, but can actually sling it?
I think Milrow is just a better version of that, personally. Like, I do think he's going to throw enough to kind of, like, if we're just talking about, like, putting up the statistics required to be in contention, I do wonder if they're going to even ask him to do enough as a passer to add to the rushing. Like, that would be my question. He could be very good for them and not actually be in any sort of Heisman contention, if that makes sense.
But you're getting Milrow at plus 1,400, and you're getting Orgy at plus 10,000. And what if they're just the same guy?
Then, then it works out pretty well for you. I think you have a shot then. But I do just wonder, like, how much different is the offense going to be with Michigan? I just don't know at this point.
Don't think it'll be much different. I think it'll be very run heavy, but I think a lot of that run might run through Orgy.
Hey, if you're running through the, no, I'm not going to do it. Anyway, I get where you're coming from, though. Yeah, it'd be very interesting. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not placing that bet. I mean, I like the long odds, but there's a reason I framed this as a question. But it's it's an unknown wild card who could emerge as like a Cam Newton-esque. Like, where did this guy come from? How is
that? Would be fun if that happens, for sure.
Yeah. There are some good long odds options, though, out there.
Well, speaking of long odds, Chris said any defensive players out there for Heisman that could be good on value.
Is there anyone even on?
Travis Hunter at plus 75,000.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
If we're being fair, like, he really should probably, in my opinion, be a defender, and he's going to play enough on both sides to count.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, I was thinking of bringing him up, but I'm so glad that you commented that, Chris, because
I'm placing that right now.
Because now you can just do it, and it doesn't sound as crazy.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, but the problem is Colorado's going to suck. Can you give a Heisman Trophy winner if he's on like a 3-9
team?
Yeah, that's the issue.
Well, Jake is also admittedly taking them to go over 5.5 wins, so he's betting on them being at least not the worst team.
At least 6 wins.
Can you
If
be
they
a
go-
Heisman winner on a 6-6 team though?
I mean,
Probably not.
how many
It's
wins did
hard,
Hawaii
but-
have when Colt Brennan won?
Well, they won, I think, a lot of games. It just didn't matter.
True.
Because
Yeah.
Hawaii.
They're
I'm pretty
in the
sure.
whack, yeah.
Pretty sure. I have to go back and look, but
Did Colt Brennan actually win the Heisman?
I think so, didn't he?
I think
I don't
he
know.
finishes a fine. I don't know if he ever
He
won.
had
it.
to be.
He had to be
He's
like
definitely
one more
finals
close.
multiple times, I think. But
yeah, because he's like the all-time leading passer, like 3 of the top 5 seasons or something.
yeah,
Like him and
I don't
Case
know if
Keenum
he
were
actually
flinging
won
it.
it though. Yeah, Case Keenum for Houston is funny. Let me see here.
I was gonna say that'd be the only one I could think of. Maybe. I mean, I don't think Stanford only won like 10 games when Toby Gerhart won it.
That's fair. But
Something
hey,
like that.
there's also the mystique of
Yes.
the big white boy running the football.
Yes.
Let's be real about that. Like,
That's how Peyton Hillis got the Madden cover.
yeah, Peyton Hillis. No. Looking at I'm kind of looking at some long odds guys because mine was Milrow because I think it's like the right amount of like plus 1400 is not bad value, but also like he could really actually do it.
One that I'm seeing value wise is Cravion Henderson at plus 8,000.
I like that, but I don't.
Ohio State's
mean,
got so many good running backs.
I know.
Judkins is. I mean, I just think Judkins is the better player. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, that might not matter in terms of like statistically, but I was like, I don't know if Oklahoma State's going to be good enough. Ollie Gordon is so good.
Yeah.
He's such a like balanced runner, like so. But again, I just don't know if it feels like the running back Heisman is just kind of becoming elusive.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's feeling like that more and more.
Yeah. Chris, this is your fault. You brought this on yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about Ollie Gordon is his coach is going to put him out there no matter
Yes.
what.
100%. Which again, like that's the mystique of it is like if he goes for 2,000, right, or something like that,
Yeah.
and the quarterbacks are just kind of not great statistically, right? Nothing special. Are they going to say like, wow, let's go against the grain a little bit? Like, yeah, Carson, I know your guys are 12-0 or whatever, but you're not winning the Heisman. You're not that kind of player. And they just give it to Ollie or something. That would be great. Plus 7,500 on FanDuel for me. Like I would definitely throw $10 on that just to find out. But
Also, Colt Brennan was a finalist for the Heisman
okay, I
in
thought so.
07.
I thought so. Yeah. Okay.
So,
I didn't think you won it.
I mean,
Also-
he had a shit ton of yards
Oh, for sure.
and touchdowns.
KJ Jefferson at plus 4,000.
I don't
Anybody
hate
anybody have thoughts on that?
Oh, he's at plus 10,000 on DraftKings.
He's at plus 4,000 on FanDuel.
I like it better, plus 10,000.
I mean, so do I, for
Yeah.
sure. But
Bold prediction.
Yeah.
I don't know. UCF was bad last
that's
year.
what I'm saying. I'm like, are we still on the KJ Jefferson thing? Is that
Don't
still a
it should
thing?
that'll just be a donation. Don't do
Yeah, I'm not going to. I
Don't do
just
that.
saw the name and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what?
that. If you had $1 and you want to put it on like plus 10,000, go ahead.
I will be putting money on Jalen Daniels just for the vibes, though, for sure.
Okay.
Like, if nothing else. Although I do think that's not that crazy, also. But
No.
Here's a fun one at plus 20,000. Brock Vandegrift.
where's he playing again now?
He transferred to Kentucky.
That is right, Kentucky.
Oh, Chris
Kentucky
Chris
goes
will
on
like
a
that.
scary run.
Chris is a UK fan. He'll like that.
They just got a new offensive coordinator, though.
That's true.
What'd they get?
I don't know who they got.
I can't. I feel like I know this, but I
I
don't.
think it was the
remember.
old. I think he used to coach at OSU. Who is it?
Who moving to NFL?
Yeah, we are definitely going down the rabbit hole
Yes.
with the Heisman
Yeah.
at this point.
All right,
I'm
Probably-
looking at the passing leaders from last year. I get to
Yeah.
about like 40. I'm like, gosh, these guys suck. Tyler Van Dyke, Graham Mertz.
Hey,
Yeah.
Graham Mertz was bad at Wisconsin, so I'm not going to defend him. Actually,
We're
So-
getting into the guys that have been quarterbacks that have
Yeah.
been draft eligible for 3
Since-
years at
years,
this point.
yeah.
Yeah.
How's Graham
Kentucky
Mertz
win the
failing
Natty at
forward?
plus 15.
The sad part is Mertz was actually not that bad technically last year if you look at some of the underlying statistics, but it's just him, so it's like I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like
The Tyler Van Dyke one's funny because I just remember watching film on him to make like quarterback draft rankings like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
At
That one
Miami.
good season he had with Miami, or like half
Yeah.
the season or whatever it was, where it was
And then
like,
we
all
thought he
right,
was going to go pro in a year.
nope.
Nope.
Chris, I'm sorry, but if you go Natty for Kentucky at plus 15,000, that's an easy donation.
Yeah, that is a
think you
certified. You could write that off on your tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what though? Kentucky
No.
might.
No, it's
hold
not.
on,
It's not.
hold
It's not.
on.
No.
As soon as you said, you know what,
They
no.
could.
I will not
no
be.
path.
I will not be hearing you out.
A
Casey.
dark horse to
You should
make
know
the
that.
playoffs. A dark horse to make the
I
playoffs.
mean,
Let's just see.
Well,
They're gonna
Kentucky
do their
Derby
little,
has a better chance of making the playoffs.
They're gonna
than
do their little
Kentucky.
7
Cool.
to 8. They're gonna do their first like 7 to 8 games where they win them, and then they're gonna struggle. But we'll
no,
see.
they're going to start
That
the year
wall.
off 2-3. They play Southern Miss, South Carolina, Georgia, Ohio, and Ole Miss. Ohio and Southern Miss might be
That
the
sounds
only
like
games they
5-0
win.
to me.
Yeah, maybe it's
To be-
Georgia State, not
To be
Georgia.
fair, Chris, I did not defend the Natty. I said they.
You were about to.
No, they could possibly make the playoffs. I'm not
think
saying
they're-
they can.
Listen, if we
It's
want to do
they're
the
more
could
likely
possibly
to
make the
make a
playoffs
bowl
thing.
game.
Let's
it's-
just go to the
Yeah.
NFL. Let's just go to the NFL because you can make a case for every team right now.
Let me give you one
Yes.
last Heisman dark horse.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Last
Quarterback at Boston College. I know
Yeah.
nothing
Thomas
about him.
Castellanos.
Yes, his last name is Castellanos. If you're looking for a quarterback to pick in an election year, you want his last name to be Castellanos.
This is very
Ooh, that
true.
is
I will
a
give you that.
Great.
Yeah, I know.
Also,
nothing
shout
about him
out
other than
Mitch.
that.
You know who I'm talking about. We're talking about Boston College on the pod today. You owe me $5 if I talk to you soon. Anyway,
you can donate it here.
yes, yeah. we need the funds to make
Yeah.
the plus 25,000 Heisman bets.
I think you were saying you guys are going to lose to Southern Miss, Chris, or whoever it was.
Yep.
Not SC. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. So NFL futures.
I
What
have
everyone-
so many stupid.
This is what I was invited for,
Let's
I
go.
think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. What's everyone's favorite intro music to a game? Like NBC, Fox, CBS. Fox, I like at the 425 games.
Yeah.
Well, 425 for me.
Yeah.
CBS for the morning games.
Yes.
I
that's
agree.
what
Yeah,
was
yeah.
gonna say.
yeah,
But
you're right, probably.
ESPN does hit on a Thursday night when it's crisp out,
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
or Monday night, whatever.
Yeah.
What about like just the
Thursday night,
NFL
like-
Films music?
Peacock.
Well, I
or
mean,
yeah.
Prime, whatever.
Yeah, certified to-be playoff game coming very soon, guys. The
I
way
can't
this
wait.
shit's going.
And Netflix. We're gonna have
Does
a
Netflix have a game this year?
yeah,
Yeah,
the Christmas
That's
Yeah.
going to
game.
be awful.
yeah.
I think
believe
it's a
it's the
good game,
Steelers.
isn't it?
I think it's the Steelers.
It will
and Chiefs.
100% not work.
Isn't it Steelers Chiefs? Isn't
I
that
think
what
the
it is?
Ravens are on there too.
Yeah.
Don't say that, dude. It's gonna work.
It will crash.
The NFL is going to start creating.
That would be
like, they're going to
so
start having
funny
to
if it
create.
didn't work.
They're going to
That
have
would
to
be
start
so
creating. They're going to have to start creating streaming services to keep up with, like having
Yeah.
more of them to put on NFL games on. Like,
All they're gonna do is be like, "Here, pay us $150 a month, and you get all of it."
I'm waiting for that bundle to pop up.
Yeah, and
The
it's like,
NFL
we
games
have
bundle.
cable again.
We get cable times 2.
I
Yeah,
feel like a Netflix NFL game is going to have about as quality of production as a Rough and Rowdy card.
Yeah, yeah. Not looking forward to it.
All right, so let's get into it. Super Bowl winners. I have 2 serious ones, and then I have a dark horse. I guess I'll start off NFC. Obviously, have to go Niners. Brandon Ayuk's going to be gone. It's going to be sad. Hopefully, we can get a decent receiver in return wherever he goes. If he goes to Pittsburgh, I guess we'll take Pickens.
You will not be taking Pickens, I promise you that much.
if he goes to Cleveland, I guess we'll take Cooper.
That would be very funny if they did that.
But yeah, I just think the Niners, they're built to not completely fall apart with Ayuk gone. They're still going to have tons of weapons. Their division is going to be a little bit tougher this year. Well, a lot tougher this year. So I think they'll have some battle-hardened games there. So I have them for my NFC pick. AFC pick, I know some of you guys are going to hate this. I have the Bengals at plus 1,300. And that's the only reason, because it's at plus 1,300. For them to win the Super Bowl, I mean, when they went against the Rams a couple years ago, that was just like a magical run. If they can get on another one like that, they have the talent. They've been there before, technically. I could just see it happening again. And my dark horse would actually not much crazier odds than the Bengals. I have the Texans at plus 1,600. That just seems like if they make the playoffs, because I could also see the Texans not even making the playoffs this year, like only having like 8 wins this year or so. But I think if they make the playoffs and they just have a run, that talent on that roster could take off.
Yeah, they're going on a deep run for sure.
Yeah. So, and that's at plus 1,600.
I don't hate that.
What did Chris say? What do y'all think of Diggs 8+ TDs for plus 115? Well, speaking of, that's
I think that's not good enough value for that.
I think that's
just
too
on
much
the same
risk.
team as Nico Collins.
It's too much risk for that.
Three mouths to feed there.
Schultz could be a bit of a red zone monster sometimes. Yeah,
they're gonna have Mixon. He's a decent running back out of the backfield catching the ball. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
touchdowns are always really hard to.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah.
Depending
on the player. Get it. Like 8 is not unreasonable for him.
No,
but I just at plus 115. I mean, it's just it's not.
I think I had to try him
there. He's the premier wide receiver.
Yeah, and if he goes down for a couple games, that gets really hard to hit.
For sure. Yeah.
I would say if it was at like plus 225 or so, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that becomes more of a nice little just
anything north.
Even like high 100s, I would say.
Yeah,
it's probably worth it. But 115 is like crazy though for that.
Yeah,
it feels kind of.
Yeah, I think they're still overrating where he is at currently. Like, I think he was a good addition overall. Like, it makes sense for what they're trying to accomplish. But he's to me very clearly the number 2 receiver. That's the start of the year. And Dell, if he's fully healthy, who knows if he's going to stay the number 2 receiver. Personally. But.
Yeah, they definitely got better this year. But, all right. Who's got Super Bowl winners next?
I'll go next.
All right.
So if I'm just going for a no parlay, humdrum Super Bowl winner plus 1,200, I'm taking the Detroit Lions. I think they're the best team in the NFL. I like that they're built in the trenches. I'm a little worried about their pass rush, but I like their secondary if they can come together towards the end of the year with Terrion Arnold and some of their young guys. And the offense, I mean, the running game is going to be great. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a stud. Sam Laporta is a stud. If Jameson Williams can be anything of value, this offense is going to be electric.
Yeah.
I like that.
I definitely don't hate that.
I want to believe in the Lions. I like a lot about that team. Love Dan Campbell. Love the weapons, but they had a bottom 10 scoring defense last year, and I still just don't trust Jared Goff. I just don't. I can't come on board with Jared Goff as like an elite quarterback. Or as
He's not elite
quarterback.
He's not top 10.
I will say with the Lions and the Goff thing, I think if Johnson had left for a head coaching job, this is a different conversation with Goff. Yeah. I think what the version of him we saw last year, assuming we get that same guy, I do think he's capable of winning a Super Bowl because we've seen quarterbacks that played at his level last year win Super Bowls on teams that were able to support that style of play, right? We know he's not going to create We know he's not going to be able to come up with something out of his ass. Like, it's not going to happen. But they should have been in the Super Bowl last year. There's no doubt about it. Like, sorry, Casey, like that, the fact that they lost to the Niners was hilariously insane. Like, it just is.
But the teams
he's made it with the Rams too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the teams that have won with that level of quarterback play, that have won it all with that level of quarterback play, have had much better defenses.
Right. And then JT's banking on a better defensive showing from this year. And again, plus 1,200. I don't think that's a bad bet to make. Because if they're even like the 15th, 16th best defense in the NFL, like that's probably good enough to give them a shot in a title game again, especially if you have the other team. All they have to do is make a couple of mistakes.
And you have to keep in mind, there are two versions of Jared Goff. Jared Goff under pressure, who is a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And Jared Goff in a clean pocket, who is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And behind this Lions offensive line with Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker, this is a really, really good offensive line. So if they keep him clean, which they're built to do, he can pick a defense apart.
Yeah.
If Frank Ragnow goes down, it's a different story. Then it's Jared Goof. But
no, but I do get the optimism there, JT. It makes a lot of sense. Again, especially if it was with plus 1,200 odds, that's not bad for a team that's that talented.
Yeah. Chris S, are the Jets legit?
No.
Yes.
Legit-ish.
The quickness of those answers is hilarious.
I think this. I will say this alludes to an MVP pick of mine. I think Aaron Rodgers would be MVP.
I like that.
It's the only reason it's at plus 1,600. I think he could be legit. But
look, I've seen. I know Dalton's about to go crazy, but I've seen reports all through the training camp that he's like 100% back to normal.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
dude.
like playing completely
at plus 1,600.
Yeah, I don't think it's that crazy to say that.
No, if this was anything below 1,200, I wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I have the Jets winning the AFC East.
I don't have that.
I'm confident in the Jets this year.
I think. Well, I'll let Dalton go first because I know he wants to chime in on this.
All I'm going to say is, even in the last couple of years in Green Bay, healthy, he needed a lot of help just for them to win, 10 to 12 games. And I don't think he's going to be as good as he was in Green Bay. And I don't think that the Jets are as good as the Jets outside of Rodgers. I don't think are that good, especially on offense. I don't think they really have that much going for them talent-wise. I don't think they're going to be able to really protect him. And I don't think that the weapons are good enough for them to be really that good. I just don't see it. And in the AFC, you need a really high-level quarterback play, and they don't have it.
I think they do.
They have some weapons, though. They have – Garrett Wilson, I think, could have a big year. They got Breece Hall, and they did make a couple moves on the offensive line. The offensive line was really, really bad last year.
I think Aaron Rodgers could have a good year and the Jets not be good.
My problem ultimately with the Jets is you can look at the Jets one of two ways. You can look at them for what the potential tells you that they are, which is a healthy Aaron Rodgers for a full season. Tyron Smith plays at least 13 games. If he can't play, Fashanu can come in right away and play well. You hope that Morgan Moses also holds up a right tackle for the full season. And you hope that Mike Williams can play, again, 14, 15 games. You're betting on the upside of players who have a high probability of not playing the entire season. If you get the high-end outcomes of those players, they can and probably will win this division because of defense. Like, they won't have to be a top 5 offense to win this division. They might not have to be a top 10 offense to win the division if the defense is as good as it could be. The problem is we saw Aaron Rodgers go down last year, so there's a chance of that happening again. Mike Williams plays every other year. Tyron Smith plays 12 games on average over the course of his career. And again, Moses too has had some issues staying healthy as well. Like, you're banking on so much talent that is legit, but may not be there enough times to actually win enough games to be contenders, right? That's where, like, again, if you're taking them at face value, sure, you can talk yourself into Aaron Rodgers being an MVP candidate. You can talk yourself into this team winning 11, 12 games. But I'm sure Dalton's kind of erring on the side of like, yeah, but are they actually going to be a full team, even remotely close to that enough to actually get to that ceiling? I think that they're going to be a good football team. I think that Tyrod Taylor can keep their season afloat if Rodgers goes down, or at least make them competitive compared to what we got from last year. But if Rodgers doesn't play the full year and play at least 90% of the way to what he was playing at in Green Bay, especially before his last year in Green Bay, then yeah, they're probably not going to be a true threat to actually win the Super Bowl or even win the division.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the Super Bowl, but
No,
I think I don't trust the Dolphins yet, and
I have an interesting take on them, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, and I think the Bills could be in for a slight step back this year. So I feel if there is a year that the Jets can do it, I do think it'll be this year. But
I mean, if they're going to do
those
it,
those are real concerns because counting on a 40-plus-year-old Rodgers and then Mike, I get the concerns for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JT, did you have any more Super Bowl picks? Sorry, we kind of went on a tangent while you were after you gave us the Lions.
Oh no, you know me. I've got to string parlays together. I don't just pick one team, but if I'm picking one, it's the Lions.
Okay. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'm not going to lie to you.
I mean, I think the NFC is fairly open. I think the Rams are going to be a serious contender to win it. I think the Niners are still going to be in the mix, even though I think they're taking a step back. I think, don't call me crazy, but the Buccaneers are going to be in the mix to win the NFC. The Eagles, I think, have the talent to win the NFC. I just don't trust that locker room. I think it's a very open division, but I think the best of the bunch is clearly the Lions in my mind.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if that's how you feel about him, there's no reason not to take him at plus 1,200, obviously.
Yeah,
it's good value.
Yeah.
I'll take the trench play.
Who you got, Jake?
For Super Bowl, a little better value. I like the Green Bay Packers at plus 1,800.
That's fun
on FanDuel.
Yeah.
They had a rough start last season, but I think they started like 2-6 or something like that. But
somewhere around 3-5, 2-6.
Yeah, the way Jordan Love and the rest of the team finished the year was very impressive. He played like one of the best quarterbacks in the league in the second half of the season, and they stomped the Cowboys in the playoffs. They could have – I thought they should have beat the 49ers in the divisional round. They might have if he didn't throw the worst pass I've ever seen with a minute left in the game.
Yeah, that was certainly a decision they made.
But I think if you can get second half of 2023 Jordan Love over a full season, I think 1,800 is pretty solid value for Green Bay.
Yeah, I agree.
And we saw that they could beat – I mean, they beat the Cowboys in the playoffs, so I guess, it's the Cowboys. It's not – Cowboys are going to be good, but beating them in the playoffs might not be as big of an accomplishment just because they usually lose there. But, I mean, we've seen that they can contend in the playoffs with Love at the helm, and he played really well last year. So I just think 1,800 is solid value for them.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to have to carry them as much this year as he did last year because maybe a hot take, I think Josh Jacobs is a significant upgrade over Aaron Jones.
I agree with that.
I think just from a health perspective with him
Yeah.
too, like you're going to probably get more touches out of him than you've been able to get out of Jones. And like,
Absolutely.
yeah, like also I just think Jacobs again, like a better pure runner of the football, obviously. Like it just makes more sense, I think, for what they want to do offensively. Yeah. So if he shows up,
he gets better as the game and the seasons go on.
Yeah.
So
they need somebody to close games.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
He'll do that. All right.
I think am I the only one who hasn't put?
I think I gotta go. Yep. For
okay,
Super
go ahead,
Bowl.
Dalton. Go ahead.
And then so for Super Bowl, I'm going back to the well again this year with the Eagles, taking the Eagles at plus 1,500. Didn't work out last year, but I think they had a good team and panicked last year and made unnecessary changes, and two, their two biggest flaws last year, I think they fixed. Jalen Hurts is no longer the best running back on that team. And they also couldn't cover last year, and they got arguably they might have gotten the two best cover corners in the draft. Two of the three best, anyways, yeah.
It's fair.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't hate it.
I do have concerns that we don't see the biggest issue on that team, which is the leadership or lack thereof in the locker room. I mean, there were reports out of Philadelphia last year that they were just disregarding coaches' play calls and drawing stuff up in the dirt offensively. And you add on top of that, they added Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Devin White to that locker room. That could be just an absolute combustion. It could go very, very badly.
That's why they have Big Dom.
He's not for anything security-wise. He's got to keep the players in line.
Fuck Big Dom. This podcast does not support Big Dom. Fuck you, Big Dom.
Who do you not support?
The way they ended last year, though, just felt so weird. I feel like they're not going to do that again.
Yeah.
That might be naive, but I don't. That was just such a complete collapse that it almost, to me, feels, especially with how they upgraded the defensive backs as Dalton talked about. I think they can avoid that this year.
Yeah.
The one thing I like about that division is incredibly winnable. Like,
they
Giants,
are going to win it.
Who else would? I mean, the Cowboys stink.
The Cowboys aren't allowed to win the division.
Yeah, because they won it last year, and they're bad. Washington,
watch out for Jaden Daniels.
Second. Yeah, I think that's the big threat is Washington, and I don't think they win more than 7 games.
Yeah.
So I think it's got to be Philly by default. They get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shane, who do you have for Super Bowl?
I'm going to give you one of my actual pick, and I feel there's obviously like a lot of variables with the actual pick because I do wonder about the status of one of their players that I think is very important for the offense, obviously. But I do think we're going to get the 3-peat. I do. I have this weird feeling that this is going to be the 3-peat, and then Kelsey sends off. I feel like this is his send off. And I feel like they did enough to add weapons. Like, obviously, they add Worthy in the draft. They add I can't think of his name right now, the Cardinals and Ravens receiver.
Hollywood.
Hollywood. They added a lot of speed and the ability to stretch the field that they were missing a lot of last year, and just going to allow Mahomes to create more plays than he was able to at times last year. And then if Rice can still, just play games, because I don't know what his status is at this point, but just can still be that, underneath threat that can run with the football. Like, they have a lot of different skill sets, and they're not going to have to rely on guys who can't catch the football and also hand interception touchdowns to the other team in the first game of the year for some reason. And the defense, I know they're missing Snead is going to suck, getting rid of him obviously, but to keep Jones, I trust that they're going to figure that out and be just fine.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to not think that this is going to be the 3-peat. But if I'm taking someone as not only a better investment in terms of just better value, but also kind of drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, I don't necessarily think it's too early for the Texans to have a chance at this. I really don't. With having a defensive head coach and having a young quarterback that played at Stroud's level last year, and you add to the defense and the offense with players that – Diggs, I don't know how great he's really going to be, but at least he does give you more options in the passing game. You bring in Danielle Hunter, which I do think is a huge upgrade, even though I like Bernard as a player. Huge upgrade at the pass rush. You hope Will Anderson's going to take a step as an edge rusher. Those two can be a great tandem. Secondary, outside of Singletary, is a little bit iffy for me with the Texans, but I think that they can get around that with the pass rush. I don't think it's too early to give them a chance to be able to do this, but I do think that it's still a bit of a long shot. That's why you get them at plus 1,500.
Yeah. They remind me of the Bengals from a couple years ago.
I think it could be a similar type of situation.
Have the talent. They just need to hit their strides at the right time.
I think they're going to have a great regular season, and I have them losing in the AFC title game to Baltimore.
Yeah.
And but I'm very high on Stroud.
Yeah.
Later, but yeah.
They have 3 receivers that could be number 1 receivers.
Yeah.
I think
on pretty
Dell's
much any team.
he's a little too like I really like him, but 1 is probably too much. Yeah, probably for me. But I see what you're saying. Like his talent level is certainly very high. So like
I also think Hunter is one of the most underrated moves of the entire offseason.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't really seen people talk about him that much, but he's such a great. He was like second in the league in sacks last year or something.
17 and a half, I think, behind Watt.
Yeah.
He's a great addition to that team.
Yeah. As good as Grenard was for them, he's not the same caliber of player as Hunter.
Can I give like a flyer one who it's a team I think is fairly relatively equal to the Texans, but the odds are 4 times as long for them to win the Super Bowl?
Oh, this should be good.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I knew you were going there. I knew it.
And I think they are one of the best 3 teams in the NFC.
I understand that.
And the value on them is right. It's plus 6,500. And I think it's a year early for them to really be in the Super Bowl conversation. But I mean, if Baker Mayfield gets hot at the right time, they're going to have a top 10 defense. They've got weapons everywhere. I mean, really, I think they're just as good as the Texans on paper. And you just get the odds. I don't think either of them are winning it, but if you're taking a flyer.
I was curious, JT, with this because I knew that you're higher on the Bucs, obviously a little bit, but I can't do it with them. Like I think they're going to be in playoff contention, but I would stop at that point. That's where I would be at.
I think they'll be a playoff team. I have a hard time seeing them not be a playoff team, no matter. Unless it's just catastrophic injuries kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't see them as like I would not be shocked whatsoever if they don't make the playoffs. That's just where.
I would be shocked if they don't make the playoffs.
I think they're definitely gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even if the Falcons win the division, they're gonna be like the 5 or 6 seed. I think it's hard for me to see them winning less than 9 games.
Yeah, I'm kind of back and forth.
Does 9 get you in the NFC?
I don't know,
but I think that's the floor. I mean, realistically, I see this team winning 11.
Yeah, I'm
almost get the whole NFC
not there with that. Yeah, it's interesting.
I give you a top 10 defense. I give you.
I don't like the pass rush at all, JT. I know that Bulls can manufacture some stuff. I don't like a single edge rusher on their team is more than a high end like number 3 player.
That's fair. They're all unproven, but they're also all freak athletes, which
helps them. Kancey I like as an interior guy too, but I feel like the secondary outside of Dean and the safeties, obviously, I don't know if I trust a corner on the roster outside of Dean. I don't.
I don't disagree with that.
It's just there's enough holes where like I'm not as confident that they're going to replicate last year's success. That's where I'm at basically with them. I hope they do though.
I mean, I wouldn't even say last year was necessarily like success. I think it was pretty average. I think it's can be replicated
compared to expectations. I think they definitely had a successful season because you didn't know what you're going to get from Baker until he started to play very well. But I guess
it depends on whose expectations. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like I would say the consensus expectations. Sure. They certainly outplayed that,
but I mean, either way, even with question marks, it was a top 10 defense. I think their edge rushers are better because now you know what you're getting from Yaya Diaby. You get a full year of Kalijah Kancey in second year. I think the pass rush is getting better. And it was already a top 10 production-wise in terms of sacks.
That's the thing with Bulls is like you can't. It's hard to account for like how much of his scheme is going to help manufacture that for them, which is nice for that.
Sure, I mean he'll line Vita Vea up at linebacker and blitz him up the middle. I mean
he does some funny stuff with that. Yeah,
dude's a madman.
He definitely does a lot of fun stuff. But yeah, I'm just curious. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's just going to come down to the offensive line because there's a lot of youth on the interior there.
Yeah. I mean, Wirfs like that he's going to hold down obviously his spot, and like I liked what Godeke did, or Gedeke. I forget if it's Godeke or Gedeke, but he should have been a tackle. Like I understand that like these guys like him sometimes get moved inside. He's not the play strength for a guard. I'm glad they moved him back to tackle.
Yeah, and he was great last year. He
was very good. Yeah.
One of the best 20 tackles in the NFL, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, for sure.
So it's really going to come down to the progression of Cody Mauch and how quickly Graham Barton can get up to speed.
That's another like Barton at center. Because he's playing center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could definitely be a huge wild card for that offensive line because he was one of my favorite players in the draft. So I definitely get behind that.
Super high upside, and he'll have growing pains. He's a rookie. They always do.
Yeah,
but if he's putting it together, week 17, 18, that's a team you don't want to play because
that's fair.
Mock, Barton, Gedeke, and Wirfs, if those 3-4 are playing the way you expect them to play, it's a good unit.
Yeah, fair enough. But what's next, Casey? What do you want to move to?
All right. Let's go ahead and get into individual awards real quick. I'll just run through my list. I have like 6 or 7, but I'll be quick with them. Okay. For offensive rookie of the year, obviously I put a couple units on Caleb Williams. I think that's an easy lock at plus 135. I think it'll go negative very, very quickly into the season. I also took Marvin Harrison Jr. plus 650 as a dark horse. Only say dark horse for him because the odds are so crazy. If Caleb Williams wasn't there, he's definitely the favorite.
Yeah.
Obviously, I already said my Aaron Rodgers MVP at plus 1,600. I have a homer pick, Brock Purdy plus 1,600 in MVP. That's just my donation of the day. I took Christian McCaffrey as Offensive Player of the Year plus 750.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Only because Ayuk's going to be gone. So I don't know who we're going to get to replace that production.
Could I interest you in a Calvin Austin Jr.?
Nope.
Nope.
And then for Defensive Player of the Year, my favorite, I took Max Crosby at plus 700.
Yeah.
But
it's about damn time he wins it.
Yeah.
Go.
I have a dark horse, Fred Warner at plus 4,000.
A linebacker DPOY would be fun in 2024.
The only reason is because he's at plus 4,000. It's the only reason I took him. Great odds for that. He's an amazing linebacker. If that defense is going to be what it is this year, it's going to be because of him. Or what it can be this year, it's going to be because of him. But I think Max Crosby takes it.
Yeah, that's becoming one of those awards where it takes like several good seasons in a row.
Yeah.
And then to finally give you the award. And I think it's like his turn now, finally.
Yeah. I actually, real quick, I'll save my other picks, but I wanted to touch on Max Crosby because I also have him as my Defensive Player of the Year pick. Mostly because, one, I think the Raiders are going to be just good enough for him to be in contention because I do think some of that does come back on, like, are you on a good enough team to even, sort of be in contention? More importantly, though, the addition of Wilkins is huge. Mm-hmm. That is huge because there's at least somebody else. Now, I'm not saying Wilkins is like elite pass rusher because he's a good one. But he's somebody else that you have to at least dedicate somebody to. And that just has not really been the case for a lot of the time that Crosby's been there, right?
Yeah.
And he's been statistically good enough to be in contention for the award. He's been good enough just from looking at him play, obviously, for a couple of years now. It does feel like, because we had it with, Watt kept being next to Donald, and then now Garrett gets his turn. I do think Crosby's probably next up. It could, Parsons is another one too, but I don't know about the Cowboys at this point. It's kind of hard to say what their deal is with all the star players getting paid or not getting paid. That kind of throws a wrench into it a little bit for me. But in general, Crosby is the guy that I settled on looking at the odds for sure. It just felt like could be his time for sure.
Yeah. If we talk about Green Bay yet, not yet, but I do have him winning the NFC North. Spoiler alert.
Ooh, fun.
Go ahead, Jake. Sorry about that.
I was just going to say, this is pretty much the first real year I think that Crosby's had other talented defensive linemen on his team.
Yeah.
Because Malcolm Kuntz also really came on.
Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah.
Potential number 2 guy on the edge.
This is going to be the first time that he's actually not been the only one that's able to get back there. So,
yeah. And just having an actual presence to push the pocket a little bit is gonna be huge.
Yeah. All right. So who's next on their player awards?
I can jump in because I already gave my defensive player. So I have a combo of picks for some awards here that I'm doing because I do think so. Let me preface that I don't think the Cowboys are necessarily going to be a great team, of course, because we know they've gone through some issues this year. But I do think, especially assuming he gets on the field, whether it's because he's paid or because he wants to make sure he gets paid even more next year, I think that Prescott and Lamb are going to lay it all out there this year. Because they already had a great season together last year. You could argue Dak was certainly one of the three. I think he finished, was he second or third in MVP last year? I forget.
Something
Like
that.
I think that this is going to be their swan song, the Cowboys. They're going to put up a ton of yards on offense through the air because the running game is what at this point? Like I know Zeke's back, but I could not possibly care less about that.
Yeah.
Like, you hope that they're hoping that someone can run the football for them, but it's going to be a lot of Dak airing it out. And I think if they win 10 games and sneak into the playoffs or just make the playoffs in general, that's enough success for Prescott to win the award if he puts up enough yards and touchdowns in the process. I think it'd be fun for him and Lamb to get MVP Offensive Player of the Year and plus 2,000, plus 1,000 for those. I'm kind of into it because I do think one of them for sure isn't going to be on the team next year. So they're one of them is playing for a contract for agency. The other one is playing for a contract to stay there, right? Both have the incentive to do that. That one's fun for me. And then Caleb, it's too easy, basically. I know that it's not minus odds, which is kind of honestly not that bad because we kind of know that if he finishes the season, he's probably going to be the pick. But I'd put on Jaden Daniels plus 650. If they win even 6 games and he puts up points doing it and puts up some touchdowns on the ground, he could win it. I could see it happening if Williams doesn't wow statistically, right? Yeah. I think it just comes down to are the Commanders and Bears that different in terms of their record by the end of the year? If they're not, I think Daniels may end up putting up more raw stats than him.
Yeah.
Yeah. The offensive rookie of the year is tricky. I thought about betting on Marvin Harrison Jr. just because I think he's gonna do crazy things with Kyler Murray.
I think so too,
but Caleb Williams is a quarterback, and that's been a quarterback award, and
right.
It's just tricky. I'm kind of staying away from that one just because I don't like the value enough.
That's why I went with Daniels because I'm at least he has the chance to do it, and at plus 650, at least it pays out a little bit if he actually does it. But
the only award I took was MVP, and I'm taking CJ Stroud at plus 850.
That's fun
because the value is just the value is really there. And I mean, I have doubted CJ Stroud at every step of his career since he came to Ohio State. And he has just overshot expectations every single year and just continued to the way he's continued to improve at such a meteoric pace. I think he's not having there's no chance of a sophomore slump. We talked about this the other week. Shane, at worst, he'd be as good as he was last year. And the Texans team are better. So I think already he'd be in contention for MVP. But I think he's going to take another step. And with a guy like Stephon Diggs now that he can just throw it up to, I think having that extra element in the offense is going to really inflate his numbers a lot. And I think they're going to, after what they saw last year, you're going to see the training wheels completely come off for him this year. And I think he's going to put up some big numbers. And I think the Texans are going to be a really good regular season team.
Yeah.
And I really like it, especially the value.
Yeah.
Now that you don't doubt him.
Yeah, I was literally thinking that.
I don't want to put that evil on you, Dalton, but it feels like he's going to be listen, you thought I was good? Wrong. Yeah. And then, no, I'm just kidding. I do like that a lot. I think the only thing, weirdly enough, I think the addition of Joe Mixon makes that a better bet because I don't think he's good at this point. And I think they're not going to run the football particularly great, and then they're going to have to throw the football more than they maybe want to. I legitimately think that's kind of part of the bet there, in my opinion.
He'll average 3.5 yards a carry.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Where's Devin Singletary? No, but
all right, Jake, do you have any awards bets?
Yeah, I just have one. I'm taking Jordan Love for MVP at plus 1,400.
Please explain.
I think If he just plays the same way he did in the second half of last season, I think he'll be in the running. Because I think I picked the Packers for the Super Bowl at plus 1,800, so I think the Packers are going to be good. I think they'll win the division. And yeah, I think if he plays the exact same way he did the second half of last year, I think he's going to be in the running, because I think the Packers will definitely be good enough for him to be in that conversation.
I like it.
Yeah, that was my only award pick.
I don't mind it. My only worry with that is if Josh Jacobs becomes the focal point of their offense.
If he becomes the focal point, I think he might take more pressure off of Jordan Love, because I think at times he kind of had to carry him a little bit last year.
Yeah.
But there is definitely the chance, especially in the end of the year in those cold games, I think there definitely is a chance that Jacobs could take over the offense.
Yeah. But that could still be passing yards for Love, because Jacobs does do a lot catching the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah.
I think he'll do more this year than he has in years past too.
Yeah.
Personally, I think so, because you lose Jones, and I think that they're going to want at least some of that style of play from him. So,
and when they do need to just shove somebody down the middle, they're not going to waste Jacobs on that. They're going to throw AJ Dillon in there for that. Just
let
plot
him
ahead
go out
3
there and
yards.
just fall down.
Yeah.
All right, JT, do you have any awards picks for this year?
Baker Mayfield MVP.
I thought about that, but the odds weren't long enough for me to go that far. I do have 2 long shot parlays. I think I've already given
guys.
Yes. I think I've already given my MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year parlay. But here, let me find it. So I have Joe Burrow MVP plus 1,000 in a vacuum. I like that by itself. And then I'm going to parlay it with Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year, because that's what's interesting to me. So I'm attaching Amon-Ra St. Brown at plus 2,200 for Offensive Player of the Year. And I'm attaching Antoine Winfield Jr. at Defensive Player of the Year at plus 15,000. And keep in mind, those guys were both top 5 in those votings last year. So altogether, that's plus numbers. Plus, is that 3,820,200?
What were the odds on the Defensive Player of the Year pick for Antoine?
That's plus 15,000 for Antoine.
Okay.
I love how there's just a Lions hat sitting on your desk, Shane.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more.
You missed it. He had like
I got about 8.
Yeah.
So I was gonna just switch them out periodically. I forgot to. So
So
Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah. Chris says, how do you feel about Hutchinson, Defensive Player of the Year, at plus 1,000?
I think Moses Crosby that I got. So
I don't know.
I think they're right. I think Jake's right when he said like it's a legacy award, kind of like I think give Hutchinson another couple years of this production, and he might
get it when he's 28.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Well, there's not a lot of other pass rushers around Hutchinson to take pressure off him.
Not ones that are proven for sure. Yeah, so it's like
I like Aleem McNeil, but I don't love Aleem McNeil.
Yeah.
I mean, DJ Reader is great as a run stuffer, but he's really not a pass rusher. So it's like you can really just double and chip Aiden Hutchinson all day long, and who else is a threat?
Yeah.
True. And then I do have one more parlay of Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year, and these are 2 dark horse candidates.
Oh, that should be great. Kamani Vidal.
It is not Kamani Vidal.
That was my guess.
One is A.D. Mitchell at plus 7,500. Physical skill set, love A.D. Mitchell. Like, he is bigger, faster, stronger. His route running is pretty good. It's really just a mental thing with him, and I know he hasn't really impressed at Colts camp so far, but I know a Colts receiver just went down, I think, today, so maybe opportunity opens up.
Downs went down, yeah.
And he's got the talent, and I'm going to bet on the talent when I can.
Yeah.
And then I'm parlaying it with Tyke Smith as Defensive Rookie of the Year at plus 10,000. And this is a Todd Bowles nickel built in a lab.
Yeah, I was about to say Tyke Smith was, I think, my number 2 nickel in the draft. Yeah, and that was even counting Cooper DeJean as a nickel if you play him there.
Yeah, he in terms of blitzing and his coverage skills, his ability to take the ball away, he is highly, highly intelligent player, and he is really going to vibe with Todd Bowles. I think in terms of fit, that's a match made in heaven. Mm-hmm. So I really like that in the way Todd Bowles can use him. So together, those two made plus 767,500. I made a $3 bet, and I'm going to get 23 grand if I win.
Well, you let us know from the plane if you did it.
Hey, my philosophy is I only have to win one a year.
Yeah, that's fair. You're right.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to player stats. If you have any, like guys to reach certain milestones, things like that. I do have just one of these bets, and I picked 4 receivers to go. Here we go.
Here comes the Daniel Jones bet.
Daniel Denny's. Sorry. Anyway.
So I have 4 receivers to hit the 1,000-yard mark.
Only 4 the whole year?
Yeah.
These are the best 4 receivers.
Yeah, and you're going to love them. So Garrett Wilson, Mike Rogers is going to love him. What do you got for? I know you have the Jets hat there. All right. Oh, I'm going to stump you on this one. And Marvin Harrison Jr. I think. Yeah.
I was going to say, we have to have an intervention here.
Yeah.
If you put out a Cardinals hat, I was
going to. And then I have Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I know you have that. We've already seen this one. It has to be a different Lions hat now.
And then I'm going to stump him on this one, I think. I have Deebo Samuel at 1,000.
Ooh, Deebo.
With Ayuk out, he's going to have more of the workload. And Deebo's had 1,000-yard season in the past, and he's gotten close every other season. If he stays healthy all year, I think he could easily get 1,000 yards.
Because I was actually literally just putting this parlay together. And he's only gone over 1,000 once in his entire career.
That's what I'm saying. He's went over 1,000 once.
Hey, if it's all purpose yards, maybe.
Yeah.
Scrimmage yards?
So plus 680 on that.
It's not bad.
You don't have to hate, dude. He loves a little.
No, that's fine. I love this bet, and
He loves a little 5-yard slant, and then bust it out for 80 yards.
Little screen pass and then break 9 tackles.
As long as it's a forward pass.
So plus 680 on that. That's my only one.
I have one of those, so I can kind of roll right into mine. So mine is a 5-leg parlay of 1,000-yard receivers, and I took a little bit of.
Had to outdo.
I did. Well, I mean, I had to have longer odds. This was my one that hit last year. This was my big winner. So I went with, all right, let's test your hat game, Shane. I went with Malik Neighbors. I know you got that one. You've seen the Daniel Jones hat.
We just saw that already.
Yep. Malik Neighbors is plus 155.
Yeah.
Okay, I doubt you got this one. Deontay Johnson, Carolina Panthers.
Last year, maybe. No.
He's plus 270. I think he's just going to get a lot of volume in Carolina. I think David Morales is really going to get him a lot of targets. T. Higgins plus 155.
Don't have that. Can't have that.
Joe Burrow is my MVP pick, so I think T. Higgins is going to get a lot of opportunity. Terry McLaurin was part of my parlay last year who came through with me.
Can't have Washington pass legal, so.
That's right. He got a big quarterback upgrade and a big offensive coordinator upgrade, so I feel good about that. And speaking of big quarterback upgrades, I put Kyle Pitts in this parlay, plus 270.
Did not have the Falcons hat, no.
See, you just had Washington. That's the only one you had in my parlay. I feel like that's bad juju.
I said the Giants.
Yeah, Giants.
Good neighbors. You don't have the Washington hat, unfortunately.
No, just
unfortunately.
Just the G-men. So that bet is plus 22,599. $3 bet pays out $680.
It's pretty good.
I'm going back-to-back years. That's going to be my Well, hopefully that's not my one that hits because that's probably my smallest bet.
Yeah.
That's
I
tough.
like everything but Kyle Pitts there.
You said you're on board with it, Dalton?
I before Kyle Pitts, I really liked it.
Did
Yeah, I
somebody
was-
have him on his fantasy team, perhaps?
I haven't drafted yet.
No, not Dalton. You know, Downey.
I just don't trust Kyle Pitts.
I
don't-
trust Kyle Pitts.
I fall
as
into
long
the
as he has
Kyle
a
Pitts trap
quarterback.
every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They
Every
just
single
went
year.
thither
I mean,
last
that's
year.
my thing is like I know that he's probably not like the generational player that we were hoping he was, but he certainly is good enough to get close to that with not Desmond Ridder throwing him the football.
Yeah.
Because Desmond Ridder throwing the football means bad.
And who's the Falcons' number 2 receiver? Is it Darnell Mooney?
Darnell Mooney, I will say, one of the best separators in the
Bijan
NFL last year. Justin Fields just doesn't know which direction he was coming from ever. So
Sure, this is not an anti-Darnell Mooney take, but I mean, if you
Just
got Kyle
saying,
Pitts,
yeah,
you got Darnell
I was-
Mooney.
yeah,
Who are you throwing
just
the ball to?
yeah,
Their second best receiver is Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
And
Well.
he couldn't even get on the field last year.
yeah. Well,
Kyle Pitts, lock
that's
it
my
up.
problem now, guys.
You hate to see it.
Yeah,
You
I
really
mean,
do.
He can't be worse, admittedly.
That's fair.
So that's where we're at with that. But
All right. Who
Sure.
else has a milestones or stats bet?
I don't have any stats bets.
Yeah,
All right.
I got
player
division
ones.
winners. Yeah, I got division.
I have
what was
two.
I
it?
got a
Yeah.
division winner too.
Let's do division winners in.
Let's
Okay.
go.
You want me to kick it off?
If you insist.
Should we just go by division and just see
Yeah,
what we
we
all
can do
have?
Yes,
All right.
that'd be fun.
That's a
Let's
good
do
idea.
I got all right. I'll do all right. AFC West. Who you guys got? Chiefs.
Yeah.
No,
What'd you
Chiefs,
guys get the Chiefs at?
Minus 230.
That's what I got.
Me too. Yeah, Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
I got minus 230. Yep.
All right. NFC West. I got the Niners at minus 195.
I got the Rams plus 330.
Oh wow.
I
got
think
the
this
Rams. I
division
got the
could be a
Niners.
toss up.
I also have Rams plus 330.
Just, they're so old.
They are.
It's not a dynasty bet. They just need to be good
know.
1 year.
Yeah.
I just think for me it's too close between San Francisco and LA for me to not take the 330.
Yeah.
I get
And
that.
you're getting the better quarterback.
Assuming
Yeah.
Matt Stafford's
Yeah.
arm doesn't fall off.
I'm waiting for Casey to say something.
He keeps doing it, man. Keeps showing up, throwing dimes.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to count him out, but he just keeps. I almost counted. I think who were they like 3-6 last year or something, and then they won
Something
like
like
all
that.
the rest of their games.
Yeah, they came on strong.
All right.
In my head, it's the Niners, right? Because just talent out the wazoo. My heart, Seattle.
Oh, I
I
thought
hate
about
it.
Seattle as plus
My heart
700.
says Seattle. Big Geno Smith guy personally. Big time throw mastermind. Dude just rips throws.
I love Gino. I think this is the year we see if he's like a guy you can count on the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is I don't know if that offensive line is any good at all.
No.
No idea.
And
He's your
like
offensive coordinator,
he
too.
has
Yeah, which I
Jackson.
like him, but I
Yeah.
don't know how it translates. Then again, if you think about it, what quarterback would you ask to run this offense other than Geno Smith? Because he will rip these wild as shit.
Yeah.
He will just throw stuff. So like you kind of that might work. The defense is also talented enough where like if they hit with McDonald, love that hire for them because they
Love
really needed
that
help
hire.
there.
Yeah.
I like the draft. Like I think they would have a chance, but the Rams are also kind of close to my heart as well. So it's
Yeah.
like Niners though is who I'm putting on my bet.
Yeah. All right. NFC North. I have the Packers.
Same.
Same. Plus 225.
Yep.
I got plus 200.
Me too. Yeah.
All right.
I went
and-
Well, hold on, JT.
Oh,
hang
sorry,
on.
JT.
I will say I wouldn't. I'm not saying like I don't feel great about the Packers pick, but I wanted the plus odds. Frankly,
Yes.
that's kind of where I'm
I
at
agree.
with it. I really like the Lions, but
I wouldn't be mad if the Lions win it because I truly think they can win the division, but I just hate to take the odds of Green Bay.
Yeah, my biggest reasoning was that I felt like I was picking too many repeat division winners, and I was like, I gotta mix it up somewhere.
Yeah, I love the long odds. I always prefer long odds, but at the same time, I think if I feel like I'm placing a losing bet, then it doesn't matter how long the odds are. I think the Lions are the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
You said, you're definitely just also like as high as you can.
Very high on the Lions.
Makes it hard. Makes it hard not to do that. Yeah, fair enough.
All right. So NFC South, I took the Bucks.
Smart man.
Same. Not bad value, honestly, at plus 320.
Yeah, I went Falcons.
Me too. Yeah, I went Falcons. Yeah.
I think the Falcons
they could have
better than they are.
Here's the thing.
They almost won it last year with Ritter. So
more importantly for me, I think that their entire offseason has been built to get to 10 wins and win the division. I don't think they're better. Like, I don't think they're going to do much in the playoffs if they get there. I think everything they did for the next 2 years is to try to win the division twice and give themselves a chance. And I think that floor will help them get to that point. But I also think the Bucks are probably just the more talented team across the board overall. But I think that they have more variance than the Falcons will have. Like, the Falcons we want exactly 10 wins. Like, they're basically a slightly better version of what the Saints have been trying to do of like, let's just get to 10 wins, guys. Like, we'll have a chance. That's why I went with them as the division winner.
And I don't know if 10 wins wins that division.
It might not.
The
but
Bucks
that's
are
what
better
they're
this
trying
year,
to do.
and I think the Saints are better too this year, or at least better. I mean, better than they were. Those teams are better than they were last year.
Yeah, but
I'll say this about the Falcons: third place schedule is really going to help them.
It does help them a lot. It really does. And I just think overall, like, they're trying. Their whole entire goal is to win like 10 games, win the division. I think that they can do that. It just might not matter ultimately, right? Like, that's kind of where I'm at with the division pick with it.
I think there's a very real chance that the Falcons win the division, but don't win as many playoff games as the Bucks.
That's my point. Like, I don't really care about that, obviously, in this bet, right? So it's like,
Well, in terms of our parlays, we care. But I fully agree with you.
Yeah. So. All right. JT, I figured you took the Bucks.
I did. Better odds, better team.
I do like the Bucks odds.
Papa John's.
The odds is nice with the Bucks, it's true, but yeah.
All right. NFC East, I took the Eagles.
Anyone I took the Eagles as well.
Yep.
Yeah, same.
I did my MVP pick and my Offensive Player of the Year pick with the Cowboys. I think they're going to give it all they have in the regular season, and we're going to see the ultimate playoff failure to get this entire team scrapped. Jerry Jones is going to die because he can't handle it anymore. His family's going to crowd around him, and his last words are going to be, "Get everyone out of here." Everyone's gone. I don't care what we're paying them. I don't care what we're not paying since they're not signing the contract. I think it's over. But they're going to lay it all out in the field, and it's going to be a fiery disaster in the playoffs, and I'm looking forward to it. So I picked that.
I don't think the Cowboys are going to be bad this year. I am solely basing this pick on the streak that's been going on in the NFL for over a decade.
You're right.
And no team has won that division twice. I think since 2008. I think the Giants won it back-to-back in 07 and 08, something like that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and I want that streak to never end now.
But think about it: if the streak ends with the Cowboys winning it back-to-back, and then they still just do the same thing in the playoffs, even funnier.
It would be hilarious if they did the same thing as last year.
Yeah,
literally the same thing. But imagine them
blown out by the 7th seed at home.
But imagine it's the Eagles that does it. And then, so not only did they like basically win the division anyway because they knocked them out, it kind of signifies like this is over for sure.
Get beat in Jerry World by the Eagles in the first round.
Unbelievable.
Oh, man.
The scenes, the streets will rise.
All right.
That would kill Jerry.
That's what I'm saying.
We'd have a heart attack in the booth.
Says, get them all out of here.
Instant death.
They put it up on that giant screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
If this happens, we're all going down.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear on
Yeah.
that, right? Like
I mean,
me
Jerry
especially.
Jones listens every week, so
And you get a knock on the door the very next day.
yeah. All right. Before we actually kill Jerry Jones, figuratively, who do we have for the AFC South? I took the Texans.
Texans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texans.
Yeah,
Yeah, Texans.
Plus one.
I do like the Jags,
odds
though.
too.
I did too.
I did too.
I almost took the Jags, but that crash and burn they had at the end of last season really.
Yeah. If I'm taking
Yeah,
a team
that's fair.
other than Texans, it's the Colts with the hope that Richardson pops off.
Yeah,
Yeah. That would be what I would do just for the odds.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
Trevor
Richardson's
Lawrence
going to have a
hasn't
huge
shown-
year.
That he is not mid yet.
yeah. I guess I'm just not used to the Texans having this much like potential
Yeah.
in a while.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
just scares me that they're going to shit down their leg and only have like 8 wins this year. When they, in reality, they should have 12 or so.
I just think if they are going to disappoint, it's going to be in the playoffs, not the regular
Yeah.
season. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I think that they're just very much like legitimately talented enough to just win like 11, 12 games. And then if they lose in the playoffs, it's because they're just not ready to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knock on wood. The only way the Texans don't win that division
Don't
is
say this. Don't say
if
this.
CJ Stroud.
Don't- Ah!
Yep, it's over. Sorry.
Hey,
Texans
why
fans,
would you
it's
say
over.
that?
I love how we just mentioned Jerry Jones dying, and this is where we're like, don't say this, don't say this.
I am more. Yeah, I'm certainly more concerned about CJ Stroud's knee than Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I'll be willing to say it. Just
JT,
So-
do you have the Texans?
I do, and the first 6 divisions you picked just happen to be the 6 I have in my division winner parlay.
nice.
So I have all of those picks I just made in one parlay for plus 26,500.
Oh,
Nice. I like
Nice.
it.
I'm surprised you didn't go all 8.
I don't give a good feel on the other 2 divisions. I don't feel confident in the winners.
So that's why I saved these last 2. So AFC East, I went. Dalton talked me into this very briefly before the episode started. I went with the Dolphins.
Yes.
He didn't even really talk me into it. He just said it.
All right. I'll convince
That's all I need
everybody
to
right
hear.
now. So one.
You don't have to
great
convince
value.
me. You don't have to convince me.
Great value at plus 200. The Jets just have way too many question marks. The Bills might low-key be falling apart. And at some point, it's all going to come together for Miami. At least in the regular season. And this is the year they finally get there and then lose in the first round of the playoffs.
So that's what I was about to say, Dalton, is why you don't have to like convince me, is because I also have them winning the division. And I have them doing that because I really think that they're going to do it and then they're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs
Yeah.
to somebody funny. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm not sure. It depends on how it lines up. But something funny is going to happen to the Dolphins. Like, that's just what I think. Like, I think the Tua contract cracked me up because as much as like I want Tua to be worth that contract, because I was a big fan of his at Alabama, really was. You can't do it, man. Like you can't do it. I just think that they're gonna see, like, they're gonna have the hope because of the regular season. That's the point of this. And then it's gonna be the same thing that happens every time.
Yeah.
I do think if there's one coach you can do it with, though, it is McDaniels.
That's what makes it sadder because it's still going to
Yeah.
end up, in my opinion. Like, I think that they have set this up as good as they possibly can with their current structure, and I still think it's going to end up not working out.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah, I
bad,
agree.
honestly. We have a lot of Dolphins fans in the ATB. I feel bad. I'm sorry
Yeah.
that I feel this way, but I do.
I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of Dolphin fandom stems back to Dan Marino. I don't know why.
Again,
It just
regular
it's just
season
a,
warrior.
yeah, it's just like getting pounded in the face every year because they're like Dan Marino was here, cool. He was cool one time.
What do you have, JT? I know that I think you're the one who. Well, Jake, did you say what you have yet?
I got the Jets.
Okay, right, yeah.
I have the Jets too, but I don't trust any of these damn teams.
Yeah, it could really be anybody except the not even the Patriots.
Almost anybody.
It's not.
Because
gonna be the
what if a
Patriots.
40-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming off of major injury is bad? Like the last time we saw him, he wasn't great in Green Bay, and then he, missed all of last year. I'm assuming he was high for 90% of the offseason.
He should be? Yeah, probably.
And I have no idea what he is at this point in his career. But at the same time, they won like 7 games with no one at quarterback. I don't know what to make of these teams. Like, I think 3 could win it. I don't trust any of them.
It's truly a mess. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just completely avoiding this division via bets. But if I have to pick one, it's the Jets.
Yeah. I trust the Jets more than the Bills or the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But I don't 100% trust the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, they have a good front 7. I think they have a better offensive line than Miami, potentially. And I didn't think I'd say that a year ago. I don't know. Brees Hall. I like Brees Hall. There's something on offense.
Yeah. Garrett Wilson. Woo.
Garrett Wilson. There you go.
All right. So this next division, I'm sure Shane's going to have a lot to talk about it. And depending on who the addition is over the next couple of days, he could have.
It will not matter.
All right. AFC North.
Get him the ball.
AFC North. I didn't know who to pick with this. I'm just going to go Bengals because I have them to win the Super Bowl, possibly at the AFC. I think this could be a toss-em-up division between Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh's going to be in the mix, depending on what Deshaun does in Cleveland. I don't know. I think anyone could win this division, even though it looks like the Ravens are the favorite, but I like the Bengals.
I'll go last.
Okay.
I went Ravens.
I want Ravens as well.
JT?
I think I'm going Bengals, but this is like the opposite. I like all of these teams. I pick any one of these 4 teams to win the AFC East.
And I also could be going with the
That's
Bengals
a
because
good
I live
point.
right next to Cincinnati, and everyone I know is a Bengals fan. So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah.
No, I don't know. I have the Ravens. I think that they are still the team that is best equipped to win in the regular season of these 4.
Yeah.
Lamar is going to be spectacular. You just hope that he has more like a season last year than he did a couple years prior, where he was missing a couple games for various weird things. Like, has the man ever taken cough syrup in his entire life? Like, I don't know what's the thing with being sick all the time. Like, and then like I don't
Always having to go shit in the middle.
yeah,
of
take it like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird, but assuming that doesn't happen, like they're gonna win probably 12 games, even in a tough AFC North. Like, this is what they do. The Bengals, their defense concerns me.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with the Bengals. I think the offense with Burrow will be good. It may be great, even if he's healthy. They've lost some pieces on the defense.
Yeah.
Just like, and then the Steelers, they're going to win 9 games because that's what they do. So, and that doesn't win you the division. They'll be good, probably in some ways, but I don't know.
Shane, can you sell me on something, as a Ravens believer here? I need you to sell me on this Ravens offensive line. You got Roger Rosengard, who I think was underrated in the draft,
Yes,
but
I
he's
like
still
him.
a rookie right tackle.
I do like him, yeah.
You got Daniel Falele, who was like a 6'9", 400-pound tackle coming out of Minnesota, and now they're moving him to guard, and I don't know what that's going to look like. Andrew Voorhees, who missed all of last year as a rookie, but I liked him coming out of USC.
Yes, he's a good player. Yeah.
Linderbaum's a stud,
Yep.
but I feel like he's a completely different player than what you get with Voorhees and Falele. Like, what are they doing with this offensive line? I do not see the vision.
I think for me, they kind of are banking on Lamar making it not matter a lot of the time,
That's what you really have to hope for.
which is fair because his pocket presence has become one of his most underrated elements of his game.
Yeah.
And I think that it will matter. I do think that their ceiling offensively is lower than it was last year, even with Derrick Henry being brought in, which is nice. But again, offensive line is really important for a player like Derrick Henry. It is weird, but I just kind of believe it's going to work out enough because they've dealt with a lot of injuries on the line over the past couple of years, and they've still been plenty good on offense. So it's tough to like count them out, but I do think it's weird what they're doing.
Yeah. As far as pass pro goes, as long as they don't have a jailbreak,
Yeah, it's
You're
not going
fine.
to matter with Lamar back there a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I like this Ravens team. I like all these teams. It's just, man, this is a hodgepodge of dudes.
Yeah, the offensive line is weird for sure.
Yeah.
Like, and individually, I think all of them. but I don't know if I like Daniel Falele as a guard. I don't even know what to make of him.
It's very weird because I felt like he was going to have to be Trent Brown if he was going to be good, and you can't play Trent Brown at guard.
Right, he's basically DeWan Jones at guard.
Yeah, which I'm not thrilled about that, but hey,
Yeah.
So what's everyone's parlay at? Mine's at plus 83,387.
Mine's
That's
Um,
53,000 for mine.
I'm 78,783.
I was capped coming into this at 26,500.
Those are rookie numbers. Especially
I know. Who thought I would take the conservative route?
I was going to say, no way you have the lowest
Yeah.
parlay.
Well, he
Well,
only
that's the
took
problem.
6.
Yeah, I
Oh.
placed the bet weeks ago, so I didn't do 2 of the divisions.
Gotcha, that makes more sense. I was going to say that doesn't feel like your answers don't feel like plus 26.5. Like what the fuck?
I do have one more future, and it's just 6 teams to make the playoffs, and I picked 3.
I have a 7-7 for each
Okay.
conference. Parlay.
Hey.
So we'll talk
Well,
about
I just
that.
did 3 from the AFC and 3 from the NFC. From the NFC, I did the Eagles. I think they get even if they don't win the division. I think they get in. Packers, same with them. Even if they don't win the division, I think they get in. And then the Niners.
No.
Yeah. And then for the AFC, I have the Ravens. I think that's pretty safe. Bengals and the Dolphins. And if you do that, that's at plus 752.
All right.
All right, let's hear your 7-7.
All right. So for the AFC, we'll start with that. Kansas City, of course. Baltimore, Houston. I do think the Bills will make the playoffs only because Josh Allen will will them to do so, and then probably not do anything else after that because his team will, in fact, let him down, as will Sean McDermott, most likely, in my opinion. Dolphins, of course, because I picked them in the division. I put in 2 little wild cards. One, an homage to my team, of course, because I feel like somehow they're going to win some weird Week 18 situation, and they're going to need like 8 teams to lose, and all 8 of them will lose somehow. My Steelers sneaking in at 7 seed. And then this is pretty much a bet for just like I'm hoping that this team is good enough to do this. Colts as well in the AFC. That gets me plus 4,418. So 10 gets you 440 roughly on that. And then the NFC picks: Niners, Eagles, Lions, Cowboys, Falcons, Packers, and my heart pick Seahawks at the 7th seed gets me plus 2,233. So not quite as good odds.
Please tell me you parlayed those 2 together, too.
You can only do 7-7 on FanDuel. Otherwise, I would have, but no. Yeah, I have to do it separately.
I like it. Yeah. I just have a couple win total overs that I bet, but I really like them. I got Texans over 11.5 wins at plus 265. We just all talked about how Texans should be really good this year. I mean, if they're going to be even close to what we think they're going to be, they're going to win 12 games, especially in that division.
Yeah.
And then the other 2, kind of more of a flyer. I'm taking the Broncos over 5.5 wins at plus 105. That just, honestly, I think Bo Nix is probably in this offense an upgrade over what Russell Wilson was last year, because Russell Wilson was bad. And I think Bo Nix, from what we've seen in camp so far, I think he's going to run that offense, and he's just going to run it the way it's supposed to be run, and that's going to be enough for them to win 6 games.
You love hearing about that from the 12th pick in the draft.
Yeah. But that's what
No, I know. Yeah, it's just funny. That's all.
Yeah. And then finally, I do have one Raiders bet. I'm taking the Raiders over 8.5 wins at plus 245.
Ooh, okay.
So the value here just seems really good for a team to win as many games as they did last year. To be roughly around the same win total as last year. I mean, I think 9-10 win. I can see this team being a 9 or 10 win team and still missing the playoffs. Honestly, I think that's what it's going to be. But assuming this defense, and I know betting on defenses to still be as good year over year is very risky. But this defense, I do think, seems like they're taking that next step. And assuming this is a top 5 defense, it's going to carry them pretty far. Because, I mean, either Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, I think they can guide the ship enough, throwing the ball to Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers and all the weapons they have at tight end. I mean, I just think that's the value is too good to pass up there at plus 245.
I think that's going to be a fun bet to like root for this year because I personally have them at like 7 or 8 wins this year. So I think 8.5 is like awesome.
Yeah. I almost
I have to take that.
The 6.5 was like minus odds, and I was like,
"What'd you get the 8.5 at?"
245.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna have to put that in.
See, though, here's the thing, though. Here's my vision. All right, hear me out. The Raiders are 8-8. Okay, need 1 win. I don't remember who they play week 18, but it doesn't really matter.
I think it's the Chiefs. Honestly.
That sucks. But maybe they won't be playing their guys.
Resting all their starters.
Maybe they won't. Yeah, maybe they won't. But here's what happens, right? The Steelers also 8-8. These two have a shot to make the playoffs. Mike Tomlin is coaching for the Steelers, which means they win that game because they have to be over 500. The Raiders, the last team they need to lose. Somehow, whoever the hell the backup is for the Chiefs right now, throws a miraculous game-winning touchdown pass.
I lied. They're playing the Chargers.
Okay, Justin Herbert throws a miraculous touchdown pass to get to 7-10 or whatever they're going to end up being, right? Not sure how I feel about the Chargers, so I'm just throwing that out there. Raiders lose. Everyone cries. Steelers somehow make the playoffs. I cry too because I don't want them to because it makes me sad because I know it's not going to matter. Everybody loses.
Yeah.
There you go.
Suck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So why did you have to do that exercise?
Just because I thought it'd be funny, and also he would lose his bet, and then I feel bad about that too. So it's like, but it also feels likely somehow.
Yeah. Oh, I could see it. I could see
Like,
8-9. I mean, it's going to be somewhere in that 8 to 10 win range. I'm just leaning on I feel like it's a 67% chance at that point.
I don't see how this team doesn't win 9 games.
See, this is where
I don't see. I know that I'm a Raiders. Okay, listen, I am a Raiders fan. So
if the defense regresses,
but
okay, that's it.
So they won. I took the same bet, Dalton. I saw you put it in the Ramble group chat, and I took that one too. But they won 8 games last year. Defense, I think, is better with Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
There's weapons on offense, and the quarterbacks both are very, very, very mid. But we saw Gardner Minshew be a dropped screen pass away from the playoffs last year. And Aiden O'Connell, even though he is a statue in the pocket, still went 5-4 last year. I think their game against the Chiefs is a sign of how I think a lot of their games are going to be this year, where you really are going to get not very much out of the quarterback position, but I think the rest of the offense can make up for it a little bit, and the defense is going to be pretty good. I don't see how they don't get 1 game better.
Counterpoint, Devontae Adams quits halfway through the season because, I don't know, he seemed frustrated last year. So
it's possible.
But I think that was more
of a Josh McDaniels type of thing. I think
Josh McDaniels and Jimmy G. I think like
that is fair.
Jimmy G either missing him wide open, throwing
multiple times,
back-breaking interceptions at the end of games, and
I will
also
say,
just all the hospital passes.
Yeah. I will say Jimmy G's performance against the Steelers was generational for sure.
Oh my god,
that was
last interception, I almost
wasn't it to like
the TV.
Freaking Levi Wallace, who might as well have been me out there most of the year.
Yeah.
Was that who picked him off at the end of the game? Something like that. Yeah, that game I was like, it's over.
It took me watching Jimmy G in Las Vegas to like realize how bad he truly was.
Oh, he's so bad.
I think about the pass he missed against the Cowboys.
No, yeah,
that's the one I think about.
I think about the 2 he missed in that Detroit game last year.
Oh, Detroit, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the one of the Super Bowl.
He missed Adams wide open twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only the worst part about it too was there was nobody. He didn't even miss him in the field. He missed him out of bounds. There's nobody on the whole half of the field, and he threw the ball out of bounds. insane.
Like,
But yeah,
legitimately, the thing is, like, he was so bad, like, to where, like, you can say, like, you know, say what you want about Derek Carr. If you put Derek Carr on that team last year, the Raiders probably make the playoffs. That's how bad Jimmy G was last year.
Yeah, see, the thing is with
Yeah.
Derek Carr is he would have just not tried to throw the ball down the field to Devontae.
Yeah.
No, it's all
No, I'm
Derek
just
Carr
kidding.
would have been sacked
No, I'm
2
just kidding.
seconds before that pass.
That's fair. Yeah,
got
that's a bigger
released.
problem. The
But-
thing I like about Aiden O'Connell, by the way, just since we're talking about the Raiders quarterback situation, is like he's the definition of like, I'm throwing that thing. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It might not work out. Nobody's going to be able to stop me though. I'm gonna do it.
That's the problem with him though, is that like
That's
his
the
best
problem.
asset is his football IQ,
Yeah.
and then he still makes 1 or 2 horrible decisions a game.
He has what I call the Mark Sanchez disease, which is he thinks he can make a throw once or twice a game that he simply does not have the ability to do.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it really messes up his otherwise kind of good at times.
Because he does see the field correctly.
Yeah.
But he has too much faith in his arm talent. You're
He
exactly right.
really just loves to just throw that thing. And again, I respect it, but
But he can't make those throws into double coverage. He
No,
can't
can't do
fit
it.
that in there.
cannot do it. Respect, but cannot do it. Also 26 years old? 25?
Yeah,
26?
he has hit his
I'm
ceiling.
pretty sure, right? Like, isn't he like
25
26?
going on 42.
He is who he is going to be. And
Yeah.
it's not great.
But hey,
It's a high end backup.
Minshew.
Yeah.
His
Minshew-
ceiling is where Gardner
Minshew has that
Minshew is right
ability
now.
to come in there and give them 9 or 10 wins. I don't know how, but he does have the ability to do
Yeah. That's all I got. What do you got, Jake?
it.
So I had the same Raiders bet. I don't want to talk about the Raiders anymore.
No.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sorry about that. Yeah, but
That's okay.
All right.
I also got the Rams over 8.5 wins.
we
I don't
like
know
it.
why their line is that low.
Aaron Donald retired and the
Yeah,
aura's
yeah.
gone.
There
That's what they
okay,
think.
probably are reasons that it's that low, but
That's just my thought, but I don't know. Yeah.
You don't have to bring reasoning into it.
Hey, what else am I here for? I don't know what else I'm here.
I think a full year of Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua will be fun to watch.
We'll
Yeah.
feed
I
families
liked-
or so for sure.
I liked for sure. I liked their moves in the draft. I like Jared Verse.
Yeah.
the
I just-
second round pick was fun.
Yeah.
Visca, that was a lot to give up for a guy who kind of, I don't want to get on a tangent with him, but he kind of feels like he should play linebacker for some reason. Like, I think he should drop like 30 pounds and play linebacker. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice that watching him. I'm like,
Yeah.
you feel like you want to play linebacker. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. I got the Rams. I don't see how they don't hit 9 wins. I got the Giants under 6.5 wins. I don't know why they're being
Yeah.
given that much. Daniel Jones, no
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley, and I think every other there. I
Daniel
think every
Dimes.
other team in the division got, except for maybe the Cowboys, got better this offseason. I don't see. I would be shocked if the Giants win 7 games this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Where's,
then
where's Felix at? We need to get him in here. So
I know
I need to.
you'd love to hear about Daniel.
I need to
Jones right
DM
now.
him tomorrow and be like, I talked about Daniel Jones on the podcast last night.
And they're gonna have
Just gonna screenshot you in the Giants hat and send it to him.
Yeah.
Just don't give him any context.
Yeah.
Even if he asks, just don't say anything. Just be like, I don't know.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
And
Daniel
they're
Jones
gonna
he joined the chat. He joined the show.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, longtime listener, we know. And the fact they're gonna have the worst uniforms in baseball or in football.
Baseball.
Sorry, I'm watching a baseball.
Also,
highlight
probably
right
the
now.
worst uniforms.
Yeah,
if they
they're
were
going
in
to be
baseball
worse
today.
than most
Yeah.
MLB uniforms.
Worse
which is-
worse uniforms in sports, you could say.
Than the Fanatics baseball uniforms.
Yeah.
Oh, the ones where you could see things.
Yeah, yeah. That they said they were gonna
Turned everybody
switch
into
out
that pole vaulter at the Olympics, pretty much.
Yeah.
I remember that. I'm like, this can't be allowed, right? Like they can't do this. They're gonna get taken off the air. What are we doing, guys?
They're just trying to make baseball great again, I guess. I don't know.
Hey. I don't know.
Got to get the viewership up somehow.
Yeah, chicks dig the long ball,
Yeah.
guys. We know this.
Yeah, and then my last last bet for the night. I got the Seahawks over 7.5 wins.
I appreciate that one. I think I broke Dalton for a minute there. I'm sorry.
If Geno stays healthy, 8 wins is easy for them.
Yeah, I mean they've won 9 the last 2 years in a decently difficult division. I like their head coaching hire, and I like their moves in the draft. So
yeah.
They can win 8 games this year. That's all my picks.
I'm trying to think of what other hats you have over there, Shane.
I got the Titans. We could talk about Will Levis having the 30-30 Jameis Winston season.
Yes. Can you bet that? Is that a thing you can bet?
I hope so. Some place probably last year. I don't know where. Sam Darnold to see ghosts by week 6 and JJ McCarthy to come in and not do much better, probably.
Yeah. So I don't have any bets for them. I just can't bet on those teams. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do have some picks for tomorrow's preseason games. I know I shouldn't, but I do. I took the Lions plus 3.5 against the Giants, and then the Panthers plus 7 against the Patriots. And if you combine those, it's a plus 242. I know it's going to be third string guys that probably won't even make the team, but
I don't even know how to.
I just have to
give feedback for those, but I'll trail you.
You can't give feedback. I just took whoever was getting points. That was my logic behind that. I did hit the. I could have went 2-0 last week for the Hall of Fame game, but they cut it short.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
I hit the over, but I had the. Who was it? The Bears and who else? The Texans. I think I did.
The Texans. Yeah. Davis Mills' generational preseason performance.
Dude, he was going in. Dude, he was.
You think if like Davis Mills and Daniel Jones were in the same quarterback room, like they wouldn't be able to like tell them each other apart? Like they're both like mostly neck. Like
that's going to be the Raiders quarterback competition next year.
Yeah.
The difference is that it's just everything that Daniel Jones is wearing is much more expensive.
That's pretty much it.
He has so much more money. Yet they're the same player, and probably if you put them in the same situation for 17 games, would probably give you very similar statistical production.
Yeah.
And Daniel Jones made so much more money.
Yeah, like again, like equal necks. It doesn't matter much else, right? Like
so much neck in that room.
Yeah.
So much.
Hey, pause, guys. Anyway, listen. Anyway, where's Felix at? We need to get him in here. Felix, where you at? Talking about Daniel Dimes. You need to be in here. No, I'm just kidding. We've reached the point where I'm starting to just make shit up. What we're talking about. What's going on?
All right. So does anyone else have any?
This has got to be the longest.
Also, where's JT at? He said, "Be right back."
Half an hour.
I think JT went to bed.
Yeah.
He heard me start talking about stuff. He's like, "All right, I'm good."
He saw the 4th hat come out and said, "I'm good."
Yeah.
I got like, I got 7 here. I think is what I have. Got more in the back probably. I have a Wisconsin hat that my mother got me. That was nice of her. Wisconsin fan. Talk about Wisconsin at all? Oh, hey,
he's back.
I mentioned Wisconsin. He comes back. What's that about?
I have no idea what just happened.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
You were asking where you went.
There's a lot of neck conversation.
Talking about Davis Mills and Daniel Jones. Do you
think that like the teammates could tell them apart if they were in the same room? Like,
wait, there was a neck conversation.
Yeah,
the giraffe was not brought up.
Yeah,
Mike Glennon.
I don't need to talk about Mike Glennon.
You can't talk neck without talking Mike Glennon.
True.
That's fair, but only active necks.
The first Mennonite quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
He just looks like
those
Mennonite people.
Oh, I thought that was real stat. I was like, that's cool.
All right.
Where do you go?
You know what?
Dalton, do you have any political bets for us.
No,
That's what
and
we need. That's what
I
we
just
need
got
right now.
burned on my
Yeah,
last
that's,
one.
that's
Perfect
what we
way to
need.
end the episode.
Yeah, when we're
No,
all
my Bet Online account got drained on that loss to for Mark Kelly, my Mark Kelly bet.
Yeah.
Did not see Tim Waltz coming, but
yeah,
You never do. You never see him.
that's Coach.
But-
Wentz.
football guy.
Okay, is
Yeah.
that not crazy though? That he said
Yeah.
the what was it like?
27.
27 team to the state.
3
Yeah,
times.
That's a defensive
legit
coordinator, but
football
still,
guy.
that's
He's right though. If you're in high school and the guard's pulling, you know where the ball's going.
Yep.
I did it. They knew. We
Yeah.
didn't win.
yeah.
I didn't win games in high school, guys. Didn't happen.
All right, before we start delving out more deep,
I don't know what character I've defaulted into, but
All right. So thank you all for watching. I know it's 2 hours and 11 minutes. There's probably no one even watching anymore, but
You want to
thank
go to
you.
bed.
Yeah,
Elite content.
elite content. 2 hours, 11 minutes later. Thank you guys for watching episode 48. Next week, probably betting more on preseason. I'm sure
More
we'll have-
futures.
I'm sure we'll have more futures if I had to guess because it's the preseason. You never know what's going to happen.
College football, we might be able to do some like actual college game bets
Maybe some
Yeah.
week 0.
I think we're still 18 days away.
from week 0.
We always got the CFL to keep
Yeah,
us,
we always got CFL.
keep us steady.
All right. So before Shane does any more party tricks over there for us, we'll go ahead and end the show. Once again, thank everyone for watching. Join us next week, 9:30. Good luck. Let us know if you have any futures for this year that we should be looking out for. I'm sure there's a million of them out there, and everyone has a great reason as to why theirs is correct. But
they're not all great reasons. Let's be real.
they're not all great reasons, and none of mine were great reasons, but I had
Yeah.
well, thanks again, guys, for watching, and have a good week.